Hello, guys, and welcome to All About Dota. We are covering once more the AD2L playoffs. We are in playoff 2 group, and we're doing the semifinal matchup tonight between Dirtman and DotaWeebs. I am Legion 170,
Like,
and I am joined by Sequoia and Just the Worst. Guys, how are you?
doing awesome. What's going on, man?
Hey, it's
Doing well.
semifinal time. We're looking for some good Dota tonight. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and switch over to our draft, and we can see first pick Invoker. Does that surprise anybody?
No.
Okay, I didn't think
No.
so. Not really a whole lot to talk
Well,
about
where's the
there.
Tide Hunter?
Well, I mean, first pick Tidehunter,
Next? Next
maybe.
pick?
Maybe you never know. I don't know that either of these teams play a ton of Tidehunter, although it is. I mean, it's in their wheelhouse. It looks like Dirt and Men played it a little bit, not last week, but the week before. If you look at the bans, you actually see some of the prominent offlaners for both of these teams. You see the Abaddon and the Void, both big fixtures. Last week we saw Dirt and Men go crazy on Acrobulus and kind of run over some people. So they're taking that out of the pool as well, trying to get rid of that lane dominating mid hero. But they let the Invoker go through, who I don't know. I kind of have mixed feelings about Invoker. Like after the slight nerf to Deafening Blast, I feel that he's been more manageable. Like he doesn't take over the game every single time, although he does. I mean, he still has his moments where he takes over the game, but he seems a little bit more manageable now. I don't know.
I mean, I know I wasn't actually kidding about the Tide, but I actually do think Tide's pretty good against him, too. Tide just has a really good initiation, able to lock him down, create pretty high amounts of burst damage, and then almost knock him out by himself. If you had a hero like the Ogre, it would probably pair up pretty well with each other. Oh!
All right, yeah. Tide Ogre, that's a strong combination. I would be a little surprised if they sent them both off lane, but if they did, I mean that's a lot of tank. You're probably not gonna kill. You're probably not gonna kill that. Tide by himself, maybe if you have a strong tri lane, but that's a pretty interesting opener. You haven't seen a lot of Ogre lately. Uh, why do you think that is?
10 seconds to go.
I think he's too easy to kite. Like, his spells don't have the best range, and he almost has to have an Aether Lens, in my opinion. He's easy to kind of bounce around, especially with some ranged. Usually, a lot of the ranged cores are fairly tanky, and they kind of have to. Ogre kind of has to get pretty close to him. Ogre definitely has some pluses though too. The even though his stun has a pretty short range, his ignite has an insanely high range, which is pretty ample for especially off lane combos when you're just about to get a kill, but you're not quite there, and they have that tower to run back to.
Yeah, and I guess you kind of are limiting yourself. You know, you have to run him as a 4. So I mean, he needs to get items, Aether Lens, Ags. Uh, so I guess from that aspect, you could probably get more out of a 4 spot like a Mirana or a Naga or something of that nature. So that probably makes a little bit of sense. Shadow Shot in the next pickup here. So DotaWeebs looking to take a little action here. So early push coming out there. So I like this matchup so far. We got early push kind of against team fight.
Radiance ban.
And no Sven, which, when they have the Tide Hunter, I don't blame for Sven ban one bit. Sven to follow up the Ravage is so freaking brutal. And then also he can put that armor on your entire team as you fight after the Ravage. Just a brutal thing to deal with. And the Ignite actually is going to pair up pretty well with that Tide Hunter too. So good pick for the Sven ban there, in my opinion.
Yeah, they don't seem to go to Sven a lot. They did go to him last week, and he was monstrous, just cleaving down people left and right. So it'd be kind of interesting to see where they go. Ember seems to be kind of high up on the lists. Also, Weaver is a possibility.
Dire
Um,
ban.
Dirtman actually getting rid of Juggernaut. That was actually going to be a suggestion for me as well, but Gyrocopter's available still. That's a big team fight ult right there. So maybe a fit for Dirt and Men. PLs, yeah, it looks like they're kind of focusing on the carries right now. So they're going early support core duo, and then looking to get rid of some of the the core heroes that they don't want to go up against.
Yeah, I don't. I know they nerf PL quite a bit, but I don't like going against him. You have this really awkward timing where you kind of have to put high amounts of aggression on him so he doesn't get farmed, but he seems to do a really good job on still potentially getting pickoffs in lane and getting farm. So it's just I think it banned it, especially at this phase, is ample for getting rid of him. Now the interesting thing is no OD and a Medusa ban. Oh my gosh!
Yeah, DotaWeebs ran Medusa mid last week and ran over Objective Gaming in 19 minutes. So
With
probably
the Medusa?
Yep.
Wow.
Medusa mid is actually kind of becoming a thing, and they were talking about it. I don't know if you saw last night in the major, they were talking about how Medusa pairs well with some of these team fight alts, like the Phoenix Egg, and the Tidehunter Ravage would be kind of the same thing, to where you activate it, and then you throw up a Ravage, and then they have to stand there, and they get forced into the stone form, and then you can just kind of roll over them. So it's a possibility, and those wards deal out physical damage, so the wards can still hit you after you turn to stone. So far, like, Medusa would pair really well with those two heroes.
Wow, that's really interesting. I haven't seen that yet, but man, I would definitely love to. That sounds like a pretty sweet combo.
So coming up here for Dirtman, it'll be interesting to see if they. And yeah, okay.
I was gonna say I would go Witch Doctor.
Witch Doctor's a top
Damn,
5
so
support right
close.
now at Shanghai. He's also a pretty go-to pick for most of these amateur Dota 2 League teams, and he's been picked up a couple times by both teams in the last couple weeks. He's just a solid all-around hero. Like, he's got good sustain, he deals good physical damage, he's got the Maledict for magic damage,
Lion?
he's got a stun for forever. Lion's a possibility here, although he doesn't really fit with what they like. If they want to push, Lion's not really your hero. Pugna is a possibility, and they did run it last week.
That's another hero I like to see in these push lineups that I don't. I still feel, and I'm very stance, that Pugna is drastically underrated right now.
Yeah, I think so as well. I just think he doesn't really fit as a support so well, and that's where people kind of shoehorn him into. Darkseer is actually the pickup here, so actually a good pushing hero. He's a good offlaner, and some of the best offlaners have already been kind of taken out of the board. We talked about that earlier. So going with something that's comfortable, something that doesn't really give a ton away here, picking that Darkseer. So some other things that are available, what do they like to... I still think Pugna would be a good pick here. Dragon Knight's available. DotaWeebs runs that as well. So both those heroes would be good fits. A Lycan would be a good fit. Potentially a Razor if they want to go all in on push. A little hesitant if they do that, though, because Dirtman, if they go all push and Dirtman goes all team fight, and Dirtman executes their team fights well, they're going to win the game. Like, going all in on that, you have to be supremely confident in your strategy and your execution.
Yeah, and I think in general, strategies that execute a little bit with or that are less prone to error seem to do better overall too. And they're going to go for the mid Templar Assassin.
So more good team fight, lots of burst damage, gets online really quickly, doesn't need a ton in terms of items. If you go something simple like a Drum Blink, I mean, you're already going to do pretty decent damage in team fights.
Do you think at this point it would be worth taking your Invoker safe lane and going a Templar beatdown hero for DotaWeebs?
Invoker's actually a pretty good Templar counter if you get.
The tree, awesome!
But you have to go. You have to go with the Exort and get Forge Spirits up. If you get Forge Spirits up, Invoker actually deals with Templar pretty decently. The Cold Snap, and then plus you have the tree now, so that synergy between the what is it called now? Brain fart. The Leech Seed. The synergy between the Leech Seed and the Ion Shell. So they have a lot of decent Templar dealing with heroes, I guess you could say. They're just going to need to have somebody probably babysit Invoker a little bit.
Man, tell you what though, I'm excited about seeing this tree. I don't think he's top tier by any means, but I do. I highly enjoy him, especially in this particular lineup.
Yeah, he's a solid hero, and he does have some good team fight defense. And so you've got the armor, you've got his ultimate as well, so some good stuff. And then Luna, the
Luna.
pickup here. So again, a good team fight hero. She adds an element of push here, an element of D-push as well, which they also get from the Ignite, they get from the Anchor Smash, and the Coconut from the Witch Doctor. So they have pretty good D-push. They have really good team fight. It's going to come down to execution, I think. You know, Templar and Luna are both heroes that are pretty susceptible to ganks, so they're going to have good vision, good
7
support rotations, but so far I really like Dirt and Men's draft.
5 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, and she's a natural BKB carrier for that Invoker and Darkseer too, which is kind of a nice core to have for that.
So DotaWeebs needs a carry here.
So what do we got
Anti-Mage is
here?
available, Ursa's available, Lycan is still available, the Dragon Knight, so it's just how much do they want to go all in on this push?
I really like the Lycan. I'm not a huge Lycan fan, but that might work pretty well in this particular, especially with the Treant Protector able to give him a little protection from afar, and then also lock
10 seconds.
players in with his ult.
Ember's available too. Slark is
But
actually
you know
the
what?
pick. Okay.
That does actually very similar to what I was saying before, but just with a different hero. So that's actually a pretty solid pick.
It adds an element of team fight that they definitely need. So a pretty well-balanced draft there by DotaWeebs as everybody DCs from the game. Rest in peace, yeah. So looking
Well,
at
we
the
got
drafts
the,
as they are right now, who would you favor coming into this game?
Man, it's going to be all about execution. I think if DotaWeeb can avoid some of the team fight from DNM, they have a pretty good shot. But if DNM execute their team fight and really get some good action going on, I think they will make the timing for DotaWeeb pretty hard to execute.
Yeah, I think it's going to come down to support rotations early on, and if DM gets caught by some good support rotations coming out, then they could potentially be in some trouble, but Treant and Shadow Shaman aren't necessarily the roaming duo of all time. You know, they're not. Shadow Shaman's really good. Tree is good if he can get close enough. So it's going to be about smokes and their movements and their timings. But I think if they can get some good ganks on the TA and the Luna, that they have a good shot at this. But if they don't, those heroes will probably just snowball out of control.
Yeah, that's pretty much exactly. I have a good feeling that's going to be what it is.
All right, so as we get going here, almost. But as we're
Nope,
getting ready to
not
get
quite.
going here, I'm going to go ahead and go through our heroes so that we can see who's playing who. So we've got Rombicube on the Invoker, Calliope on the Treant, Major Dune on the Darkseer, Cillian on the Shadow Shaman, and Shiroshi on the Slark. Then over here on the Radiant side for DM, we've got Baxu, the captain, up on the Tidehunter. We've got Incendium on the Ogre with an awesome set. I have not seen that before. We've got Kinglim, yeah, sure, on the Witch Doctor. Decon on the Templar. And I feel like I missed somebody, and I did because they're way over here. And it's Heyo on the Luna. So both teams kind of grouping up and seem to be heading towards this bottom maroon here. Major Dune's got a ward, and he's a rune. Yeah, a ward. Good lord. He's got a ward, and he's heading towards that camp. And Baxu as well. Baxu with the double mango going on right now.
30 seconds.
So a pretty standard warding here in the pole camp for the Darkseer. We'll see if they do not currently have any. Oh, they do have sentries, so they'll see that at the 30-second spawn and probably get to deward that fairly quickly. Baxu gonna throw his in a little bit trickier spot. Actually, it's not that tricky. It's most likely the second spot that you'd look for a ward. Do the supports here have?
Battle starts in 3.
They do have sentries as well. So both teams have sentries. Both teams should be able to deward fairly quickly after that 30-second spawn mark. So looking at the lanes, we're going to have the Tidehunter going up against the tri lane here of the Slark Treant, and Shadow Shaman. There's actually some pretty decent kill potential here for this tri-lane. You know, you get a good Pounce, Leech Seed, Shackle combination, and Baksu could be in a little bit of trouble. Conversely, on the other side, we're going to have Darkseer going up against his own tri-lane. With the Ignite coming out on him right away. You've got the Coconut Maledict probably coming out, and actually there's a Shackle going on already. Baksu gets pounced directly after it, and this could be First Blood here, and it is going to be First Blood picked up by Shiroshi, as just like we said there's definitely kill potential there. Baksu's going to probably have to look to start stacking Ancients in that close camp there fairly soon here to try to start getting some farm.
Yeah, it's gonna be a tough lane against that Tidehunter. He's already gonna be down quite a bit, and it's gonna be very tough for him to stay in lane and to actually get it in closer for experience than I thought that these supports would let him get. But oh, here they come. Never mind. He's gonna have to back off now. So I think that's probably all he's gonna get. Down here on this lane with the Darkseer, though, he probably is a little bit more opt to do better just because he's already got his Soul Ring recipe. And he should actually have that pretty quick with this Ion Shell.
Yeah, they got the side pushes going on already, and Baksu actually from across the map pinged out where that pole camp D ward was sitting. So Darkseer is a pretty decent matchup here. They don't have a ton of lockdown as of yet, or at least hard lockdown, because there's no stun on the Tidehunter or on the Ogre yet, but that should change fairly soon. Deacon's actually doing fairly well here, doing some decent damage to the Invoker, and actually they're going to go on Baksu again here as the Shackles do come out here, followed by the Pounce and the Leech Seed coming out here. Baksu's taking a lot of damages. He does throw out an Anchor Smash, but isn't going to be enough. They're taking so much damage to the right hits, and the Sheep, followed by one more last hit for the Slark. So Shiroshi's thinking that this is going really well. In the meantime, Decon is going in for this, and he's just going to get it. He gets away with 52 health. As Rombicube pings it out, he was cold snapped for a second there. I didn't think he was going to get that kill, but ends up taking it from the Invoker. So making this lane definitely his now. Wow, he's 11-9 versus the 2-1 for the Invoker. So that plus the kill,
Oof.
and he is really doing well in this lane. He's almost level 5, while the Invoker is approaching 4. So things are going really well there for Decon, who we saw just play out of his mind as a Crobulus last week.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive play. And then now he's got a DD, so he can just keep this Invoker on his toes and get extremely easy CS too.
And actually, they send the Witch Doctor to help Baksu in the top. A little bit surprised that they don't send the tankier support instead. Deciding to send a Witch Doctor, I guess, for the Coconut, so that maybe it bounces between some of these heroes. Whereas obviously, the Ogre only has 1 stun.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised too. I think I like Ogre a little bit better. That Ignite does surprisingly good amount of slow. It's pretty effective for covering your retreat when you're trying to back off. I mean, 20% slow is nothing to scoff at, especially if you can try to get boots up at a reasonable timing.
Yeah, my guess would be that they're just kind of hoping that they can prevent multiple skills from going off if that Coconut bounces correctly. You know, so if you can prevent or you can disconnect a Shackle and then maybe prevent a Leech Seed or prevent a Pounce or something.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. Either way, they're it looks
actually,
like the
Leech Seed's going to go on to the Witch Doctor,
damage.
and Cillian is looking for a Shackle, but he's not there. Instead, they see Baksu here. The Pounce comes out on him, and he's just going to TP away here, and there's nothing they can do about that because the Shaman is too far away. He just TP's all the way back to base. Actually, I don't think he needed to do... Yeah, he definitely didn't need to do that. Like, he was a little bit low. He could have just TP'd to that first tower there, so maybe a little bit of a panic TP.
I think he was a little concerned about where he was. He was completely out of position, and if that Shaman would have been there instead of the tree, that might have been another death on him. So, yeah, I think he was just a little paranoid and just TP'd real quick instead of trying to adjust the TP to the tower.
He should have had visions, though, since the Witch Doctor was so close to the Shaman. But, yeah, it's one of those heat-of-the-moment things where you just kind of, oh my god, I'm going to die, and then you double-click, and then you're like, oh, crap, I should have gone to the tower.
Yeah. Because he was in pretty good shape, and the Witch Doctor has some trees left too. So
and he had 3 trees as well. He had 3 tangles as well. And Witch Doctor in trouble now. The Shackle's going to come out here. Here's going to be a Pounce. Shiroshi wants another kill, a third one, and with the Dark Pact, he will get it. coconut or not. That was an easy kill there for the Slark, who is just starting to kind of take this thing over here, as he's got 500. Really, he's only got 500 gold on top of the Aquila, so that's a little surprising to me. He's not farming super well. I mean, he's not farming well at all. He's doing a lot of deny work, but he's still 10 CS behind both of the other core heroes. So that's a little surprising to me.
Yeah, Slark's. I don't know. I mean, especially for probably this not lower league but amateur league. He's a different. He can be a difficult hero to last hit with. He's got a very odd animation and can sometimes throw people off.
And the
especially
Shackle's
if
going
they
to
don't
come on
play
a
much.
Decon here, and they're going to go for a kill in the mid lane here as the Sheep comes out next. Decon's going to throw up the Refraction and then turn on to Cillian. He wants to get a kill in return. Baxu's here, and also the Witch Doctor. The Coconut bounces between Cillian and the poor little Forge Spirit there, and now he wants to go for Rombicube. He's got traps up. There's one, there's two, and he's walking into this. He does not care at all that he has half health and Rombicube is at full. He's going to charge this out until the tower pushes him back finally. So picking up another kill there on the Decon mid hero. So a good rotation there from Baksu and the Witch Doctor support for DM.
And Boxy really needed that assist gold. He's very poor. He's definitely getting some good neutral creep camps healed up though.
But
this Slark
stack
is
it
just-
here. And he's gonna miss the stack. Major Dune actually doing some pull work here of his own, or trying to, but he didn't get the timing correct. That's a tough one there from the Dire trying to pull that Dire Cam. I actually don't even know if you can pull the Dire. I'm assuming you can, but instead he's just gonna farm up the big Satyr and be content with that. He's doing pretty good. He's got Soul Ring. He's got
What's kinda
8 CSs all.
What's kind of crazy to me though is the Darkseer actually has less farm than the Tide.
I think he's just been playing really passively. Like, we haven't focused on this lane because there hasn't been a ton going on down here, but it doesn't seem like he's been spamming out the shells, and actually Luna is fairly decent at dealing with those, so he's having to spam it out onto Luna's creeps, and actually the Ogre's going to run in there, but he's just going to speed away. Gotta go fast. And actually, Cillian up onto Decon here, again here is the Shackles and the Hex, but there's no follow-up damage for that, so I guess it looks like he was trying to like de-ward or rotate around there. I don't really know. 8-minute runes comes up. It's invisibility. It's going to be picked up by Rombicube, who's Decon thrown up in the tornado, followed by an EMP here. He does get off Refraction, and here comes the Coconut. Now he's going to turn. He wants to kill Rombicube. He's going to throw out so much damage here. The trap follows. The Ogre's here as well. The tree follows. The Maledict does connect. Rombicube's going to go down. Now it's Calliope. He's trying to here. He's going to TP maybe. Do they have a stun? They don't have a stun. Took a ton of damage there, but not he able to get the kill onto the Treant. And then they tried to turn for the Shaman, but not quite able to. And that ward is actually right in sight of that sentry ward that they did place down there. 3 sentries now placed because of that TA in the mid lane in that upper river area. And actually, Luna picks up a kill. What in the world? She was so far away from her creeps there. I was nowhere near that. I had no idea what was going on. But
that was not an ult either. That was just a nuke and right click.
So Heyo picking up a kill there on his own there, and he is cruising right now. 9 minutes in, he's got 54 CS and 34 denies, 35 denies. So he is just taking control of this lane right now. So Baksu had a little bit of a rough go, but the other 2 lanes right now are just doing fantastic. And because of that, they actually have some rotations coming down here. We've got the Slark down here. We've got the Treant as well. Hale's going to toss out the ult, and it's just going to destroy the Darkseer. The armor's there, but the last ult, or the last beam, going to pick him off. And now the TP trying. He's going to get it. No, he cannot quite get there. Now Slark might be able to pick up another kill on the Ogres. The Dark Pack does fly out, but here comes the Coconut and the Maledict. And the Tidehunters here as well. The stun's going to fly out, and as well as an Anchor Smash did connect there. Maledict is still going, but the ult regen is so far negating that damage, and he's going to take a little bit of damage down to 150, but he's going to be able to walk away there. So another really good rotation there from the Radiant supports to counter-initiate there. For a second there, I thought that those Lucent beams and the ult were just going to straight out kill the Darkseer, and then that one creep got just in range and took a beam or two.
Yeah, they needed to kill that Luna, though. She was just getting out of control. And I mean, her and TA are by already a pretty significant lead in terms of net worth. I think DotaWeb, if they want to keep this game going, they're going to have to start team up and see if they can get some objectives.
And this is exactly what we talked about at the beginning of the game. Like, if you get good support rotations and you can kill these heroes while they're squishy, you're going to be fine. But TA's got 3 kills right now, a Haste Rune bottled and a Mithril Hammer in the inventory, and Heyo's already got half of the Helm of the Dominator sitting with that Helm of Iron Will. So, I mean, this is not what you wanted if you're DotaWeebs. They are going to probably take a tower here top.
As good as that safe lane went, Farm just did not get the CS that he probably wanted, and because of that, he's quite a ways behind Luna.
And
Luna
4
got
heroes rotating
amount
up
of
here to the
denies.
top lane. 2 to 3 of the 3 of them are smoked up, and so the TA walking in behind these smoked up heroes. And oh, Shaman, you're in the trouble. The wards do go down, but is it going to be enough? The Maledict follows. The Tidehunter has to run away from the ward damage, but the Shadow Shaman's going to fall anyway. And now Deacon's trying to clean these things up. It has to go invisible to try to get away. And now Incendium is disconnected, standing in the middle of those wards there. Pings do come out. Shiroshi is apparently pounced onto Baxu, so he is almost certainly dead. The Treant is trying to come in here to maybe clean up a little bit more, but I don't think he's going to be able to get there in time. There's enough creeps here to tank this damage. They'll be able to eat through those wards fairly quickly, so it's most likely going to be a 1-for-1. The tower will not fall, at least quite yet, and the Radiant are going to get to farm up some wards.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Tide's getting out of that. Even if he wasted his Ravage on it, I think he would be still extremely dead. So I think we'll see a Tide die there, and then probably a tree back up shortly after that.
So it'll be a good influx of gold for Shiroshi. The Slug desperately needs something. I think it's too late for him to go Midas. So he needs to get something like an SNY up here pretty soon. Yeah, there's the kill with the Dark Pack straight out of it. Deacon not even going to farm it up. He's going to let the supports have the gold there for the wards, and then he's just going to casually walk away. So a 1-for-1 trade with some wards there. Actually, it doesn't... What? Oh, it didn't show the Shaman death in the fight recap. So actually,
it almost seemed like
pretty
that was
even.
a slight miscommunication because Shaman went in all by himself to ward there, and I don't really think that in general that's going to turn out to be an objective. That's usually probably just going to be fed wards.
Well, I mean, he wasn't expecting 4 heroes to be there either, so there hadn't been anybody top for a while. So if there's nobody there, you just go drop the wards, then Slark can farm the jungle or whatever. But it is a little odd, but I can kind of understand it. The Mist's pounce there on Incendium, who's just going to walk away. But the smoke rotation definitely caught him by surprise. And Major Dune actually may be in a little trouble. He's going to take a Lucent Beam to the backside, really, because he'd turned around. But going to get out of there. Helm of the Dominator already finished on Luna, who still has this Mango.
Luna is just continuing to pressure this lane all by herself, too.
And Shiroshi's rotated down here.
75 and 39. Woo.
We can go ahead and switch over to net worth because it is about that time in the game. As we see Shaman going for the kill, and Deacon is going to get it thanks to the neutral creeps. He doesn't actually get the kill. The neutrals pick it up, and now the neutrals are doing a ton of damage to him. Hale's going to walk right by him. He gets hexed. But now he's going to maybe get the kill here as the Witch Doctor does walk in here. He's going to throw the coconut. It's going to bounce between 2, but so is the Luna ult, and it's going to tear apart 2 heroes. 2 heroes died. Hale gets a double kill. The Tornado EMP does come out here, as well as the Darkseer ult, and the Vacuum does not connect with anything. A completely whiffed ult there from Major Dune, and now he's taking a ton of damage. One more Lucid Beam might be enough to kill him. The stun does come in. The Deafening Blast misses, and Hale gets a triple kill.
Oof. That was some really unfortunate decision-making by, I think, DotaWeeb on that one. I think they probably should have cut their losses at the Shaman, but instead they sacrificed 2 more heroes, and now it's going to be an easy objective for DNM.
They just keep underestimating how many heroes are going to be in these engagements, and DNM's lineup is completely predicated around fighting. Like, this is the time they want to fight. 10 to 25 minutes. This is their golden age right now. They can fight, snowball, and just kind of take things over. And DotaWeeb, they wanted to push early. They weren't able to. And Cilia's just going to die here. Takes a Lucent Beam to the face, tries to shackle ward, and then just blows up. What is happening? DotaWeeb is just falling apart right now. tossing kills into D&M. I think that they're a little frustrated by the way that this game has gone so far.
Yeah,
And
I think
Slark
you're
actually able to
100%
pick up
right
a
there.
kill bottom on the Witch Doctor.
They're completely underestimating these heroes, though, and if Slark's not careful, he does have an ult, so he should be okay.
He might turn around. He's thinking about turning around on this, but then he's going to just pounce away. He saw the Tidehunter and then just decided, nope, not worth it. They are going to rotate the Shaman back down here as well as the Treant Protector, so maybe hoping to get something on this Luna, who, and Heo is obliging here. Actually, the Slark TP'd back up top. There was an opportunity to get a kill there on an overextended Luna and just rotates top anyway. But now we've got two heroes, Major Dune and Robbie Cube, rotating down from the mid lane. It looks like they want to take a fight here. I don't know if that's a good idea.
Not with only 4 of them and the Slark off by himself. I mean, their lineup's kind of centered around them kind of deathballing down a lane to get an objective, and I'm not sure they can do it with just the 4 of them, especially when
And Cillian's
entire...
going to walk right in here. Heo's there. He's going to hex him. The tree ult is going to follow, but then there's a Ravage immediately followed by the Eclipse, and it's just blowing things up. The Tornado EMP is going to land as well as the wall, but they have to run away. They've already lost 2 heroes. Cillian gets gushed, and he's going to die to the Lucent Beam. Cube now in a lot of trouble as Baksu is chasing after him. They don't care about this tower. The Yules does connect here to stop the Lucent Beam, but it's not long enough, and he can't TP out. A triple kill for Heo, and this game is just spiraling out of control now.
This Luna is just doing work. I mean, she just dominated her lane, even mostly being solo down there. Darkseer, even though with the Ion Shells, she was just getting denies the whole time, and now he has... I mean, Darkseer is extremely low in the net worth. I mean, below the Tidehunter, who the Tidehunter just got beat down in lane. And it should be very opposite in this. And the Slark got an immense amount of kills, and the Luna was just sitting there with the Darkseer the whole time. And Luna's top of the net worth, with Slark sitting in 3rd place and followed drastically behind the Invoker. The Tide has almost overtaken the Invoker at this point.
And this shows you how confident they are. They go for the Roshan, and more than that, Baksu has actually picked up a mech first, so he bypassed Mana Boots even, going straight for the mechanism, so they really want to fight. Like, 10 to 25 minutes, I thought that was their opportunity, even without the mechanism, but with it, they're going to be able to go uphill, like, pretty easily. He needs the Mana Boots to do the ult and the mech, but still, like, just having that and having the ability to use it in a fight, plus the Witch Doctor heal. Witch Doctor's got Mana Boots as well, so if Tide can get Mana Boots, they'll have double Mana Boots, so plenty of mana there for the Tidehunter to use all of his skills. And things are looking really good for DM right now.
Yeah, they're pretty happy with that. That laning phase just set them up for victory. And I think at this point, DotaWeeb, what they need to do is they just kind of need to get a new plan and set. Their plan on 4-manning into D&M is just not working. They either need to group up or try to do some split pushing or try to get farm and defend high ground.
I think grouping up is the wrong thing to do. I think they need to split the map and farm.
Yeah, I don't disagree on that at all.
Ooh. Okay, so maybe playing a little bit outside of their comfort zone here as getting banned out a little bit.
That actually seems pretty accurate, too, because we've seen a decent amount of misplays, which for the semifinals of this tournament, I'm a little surprised about.
At the same time, though, I don't know that it's like we've seen mechanical issues as much as just maybe decision-making, like not really being sure about what they want to do. I think taking these team fights is a really big mistake right now because DM is just in a good position to take all of them. I think you let these external towers go, you let the Slark go out and maybe try to find a pick-off if somebody does venture away from this 5 group, and you just try to farm everybody else. Like, Invoker's pretty good at split pushing if he goes Forged Spirits. Like, he's only got 1 point in Exort right now, but he doesn't have very many points in Quas either, so he could definitely rotate his build right now and try to go a little bit more split push, try to pick up a Necronomicon or something. Like, I don't think that taking these fights head on is the way to get back into this game for DotaWeebs.
I also think Quas Wex in this particular lineup may have been a small mistake.
Shiroshi's going to run all the way into the middle of their team here as he's right next to Heio and Baksu. He's very low on the Shadowblade time, and he does get out of harm's way before it can go off. But now Decon is in the middle of the Dire team, and they're just going to press forward. Slark's hiding in the back, but he does get seen. Or maybe the courier just gets spotted out there by the witch doctor, and now he's seen, and so they know that he's trying to hide behind him. He did not get hit by that dust. Just out of range of it. But they're going to keep going anyway, and here comes the vacuum wall, but the Darkseer just explodes to Decon's damage. The Tornado EMP does happen. Decon gets stunned up here by the Witch Doctor, and in the back lanes, oh no, he's just going to tear him apart. One hit, two hit. The Aegis does get popped there. But in the back lines there, the Slark gets picked apart by the rest of the team as Decon now is just trying to solo the two remaining heroes for the Dire. And as far as things go, Baksu maybe dies to the wards there. Wanders just a little too close, so actually ends up being a 3-for-2. Not a terrible trade for DotaWeebs, but still not one I think you want to make. They're going to lose this tower. Darkseer's not careful. He's going to die a second time here. Like, there's no question about it.
I mean, as things go for DotaWeeb, though, that was pretty decent. I mean, they got the Aegis and they ended up getting 2 kills, and with their deficit in gold and experience, that was about as good a fight as you could probably expect to have.
It's still an 800 gold advantage for the Radiant though, and almost 1,000 XP for them. It's definitely still a loss.
But they did burn Aegis too, so that that helps out quite a bit.
It does, but it's not helping their win condition. Like, taking these fights is just giving more gold to the cores, because the cores for DM didn't die. The Luna and the TA didn't die, and he walks right by a sentry ward here, and he's going to die here. They dust him up just to be sure. He ults just to try to kill Decon in return, but now they're just going to chase after him. A Lucent Beam connects, the Trap connects as well, but he pounces through it. Now the ult from Calliope. The Witch Doctor ult comes through to try to zone out the rest of the team, and it does succeed as the Treant Protector falls, and the rest of the team has to run up the hill. And now they're going to follow even more. Heio walks in. He wanted the Lucent Beam there, but ends up getting Yules instead. Major Dune actually throws down the wall, which TA then walks into. If Luna wanted to, she could have loosened him one more time and ended that Darkseer once more, but instead choosing to back off and play it a little bit safer.
But that wall might come back to bite them. They're going to have one of their big ults down for this next fight. It's down for 78 seconds now, and I don't think DM have any issues with pushing up this mid tower.
Honestly, even with the wall, I don't know that they have that many issues. Like, they could, even if they don't want to go uphill right now, they can take this tower and then just go top and take 2 more. Slark's going to try to go into the back line here, go for this squishy little Witch Doctor. He's going to pounce in here, but the stun does come out immediately, but he's Dark Packs it off. He does pick off that kill and then throws the ult out. He wants to try to get out of here before any collateral can happen, but the Tidehunter Ravage is going to connect as well as the Lucent Beam, and now the Eclipse comes out, and it is just destroying the Dire as Heio picks up a double kill there. The Slark does buy back here. The wards are out. Heio's taking a little bit of damage. Wow, the Tornado connects on 4 heroes, and now they're splitting to run away. Decon does go invisible there. Does he want to fight? No, he's just going to let Heio die. Baksu here is trying to throw out some protection here. He throws out an Anchor Smash, but he's probably going to die here as well. The TP here from Incendium, they don't have anything to stop that. The Pounce does come out of Baksu, and he's going to die as well. Now Decon thought about going into the back lines there for a second. Now he's just going to blink out and TP. That was okay. I mean, that's a big swing there, but it did cost the Slark the buyback, and he didn't get a huge influx of gold, only 309. But still, I mean, that was a good fight for them.
Yeah, I think in order for them to come back, they may have now. I think is the time to start split pushing and getting the lanes pushed back. Where's the Invoker sitting on Exort? He's still deciding to go more Quas-Wex, which I'm not in agreement with him on. His effectiveness on zoning out the enemy team isn't very good because there's not a whole lot of follow-up that can go through with it. Usually when you want to go Quas-Wex, you want to follow up with like a Darkseer ult and then maybe like a Slark Pounce or something like that. But they just don't have a lot of DPS to really follow the Quas-Wex build on this Invoker.
Like, I understand why he's doing it because it does synergize well with their skills, but I think that they're at the point now, they're 10k experience and 10k gold behind. I think that they just need to split this out. They still have outer towers in every lane. There are opportunities for them to go around the map and pick up farm. And if they're spread out. They're collecting more golden experience than DM are because DM is, for the most part, I mean, not right now because apparently they're taking my advice, but for the most part, DM has been 5-manning around here. They're just like death balling, and when you're doing that, you're not getting nearly as much experience. And
Oh,
actually,
and I think
Shiroshi's going to go for the TA.
Oh,
He misses the
missed.
pounce, but then connects with a multicast there. He does Dark Pact off the stun, but does take the damage. The Ion Shell was cast late onto that, so didn't do any damage to the TA. But now DM, they want to take this fight, and Decon actually blinks forward and does a ton of damage to Shiroshi thanks to that Desolator that she has picked up.
That almost killed the Slark. That was so close. Oh, and Luna just picked up her BKB. I didn't even see that come up. This is gonna be a. This
is just a dead tower. Yeah, they're just walking away from it now.
Yeah, so they don't want to get anywhere near this thing.
You know, this is what I'm saying. Like, while they take those objectives, I don't think they fortified that. Did they use their fortify earlier?
No, it would have only given them, I think, a couple more seconds though.
Still, I mean, that's
really
a couple seconds. Like, you could get this wave down and maybe take a tower here, at least trade for something. Like, that's a couple seconds of farm. Like, you're just wasting time if you don't use that. I mean, it refreshes right after that tower. Instead, they're having to use it here on this tier 2 tower, you know, to try to come back for it. They're not even going to get there in time. So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it was down. That's the only thing that I can think is that maybe they used it on an earlier tower.
I didn't see it fast enough to know for sure either, but unless you're really going to mount a defense, sometimes a fortify is usually not the way to go on that tier 2 there. They could have used it for high ground to help with a buyback.
And Witch Doctor actually going to get picked off here by Shiroshi, so quick pounce Dark Pact and he's going to be good to go. And the TA blinks forward, does not get the combo hit off, so it just does a little bit of extra damage to the Slark. And then DM's just going to walk away.
That was a good pick from Slark. I'm surprised they were able to get that so fast without a reaction from anyone
Here comes
else,
a tornado. It is going to connect with the
nice
Tidehunter and the Ogre, but the Tidehunter's in the middle of things here. Oh, they do shackle him up before he can get the Ravage off. The Eclipse, though, destroys the Invoker. Where's the Ravage? He doesn't have enough mana for it.
Oh my gosh,
But TA is just destroying the supports in the back line. Shiroshi picks up a kill, and now he's going to pick up Hail probably as well with the Dark Pact. So a triple kill for Decon and a double kill for Shiroshi. And now Decon wants to go for this Slark. The tomato does come out, and the Shadow Blade does as well. Here comes the meld. The dust does connect. Decon's in a ton of trouble. The Dark Pact picks up a triple kill for Slark.
Wow.
Oh, that was so unfortunate that Boxu didn't have enough. Like, that EMP did so much work in that fight. If he has Ravage, that goes completely the other direction. Like, they still lost 4 heroes, so let's not get too out of control. But I think they lose everybody and don't even get a kill if he gets a Ravage off. Like,
yeah, that was
maybe the Ogre dies.
Incredibly close. Incredibly close. That Quas Wex build definitely helping with that particular situation. That was a really nice tornado for him too, just clipping the tide at the end of that one too. That kind of set up the fight for him. So if they can get
actually, the Ogre was down the ramp. I don't know if
the Ogre?
The Ogre was down the ramp, and he was at the very edge. The Tidehunter was at the top of the ramp, and that's why the EMP connected with him.
Yeah, I think if they can get a potential couple more of those, they'll be in a much better spot. The graph is dipping a little bit, but they got to keep getting objectives and keep getting kills. Otherwise, they're going to be just sitting at being way far behind for the rest of the game. And I think D&M will just push up and take out this last tier 2 and probably pick up a Roche shortly after that because he should be online in the near reasonable future.
DotaWeebs actually picks up a pipe, so a little bit of protection from that Eclipse and from the Ogre. Oh, Rombicube. He didn't see that. It spawned right as he walked outside of the pit. He walked in to check it. It wasn't there. He walks out, and like the millisecond that he got into fog.
Wow.
It spawned.
That's really unfortunate. That would have been huge for them if they would have been able to take that.
And
they might
check it again, but they're going to walk right by a ward here, so if they do try to go for it, they're going to know about it. Decon thinks about it, but then they see the rest of... they either see the rest of this team or they saw that ward placement, or both.
So, back to the pipe when you were talking about that. Do you think the pipe is more necessary for this fight? Or, oh my gosh, I didn't even realize Darkseer doesn't have boots.
I didn't notice that either. Major Dune,
Okay.
my friend, where are your boots?
I think our friend
I don't.
Spencer is playing Major Dune up here,
I
but
don't. Yeah,
I
that's incredibly odd to me. There's not even boots on the courier. That's huh.
Yeah, but okay, let's move on from that. But I was thinking pipe over or blink over pipe because his initiations have been very poor as well as been very ineffective because of placements. Do you think something like a blink would have given him more utility to get his ult off, or do you think the defensive item like the pipe is a better move?
I mean, they haven't really had to worry that much about offensive initiations, though, right? Calliope walks right into the tower, throws out his ultimate, but just immediately dies to the Lucent Beam. And now Major Dune tries to throw a vacuum in there, and he's just going to get destroyed by Deacon's damage there. He wasn't even the main target, but he just gets wiped out. Deacon does die in return, but it's a 3-for-1 there, as the wards were committed and going to get cleaned up as well. So a questionable movement there again from DotaWeebs is just doesn't seem like they're all on the same page. Major Dune needs to get boots. Like that alone is going to help him initiate better. Like that move speed is essential. And now they're just giving away a Roshan here. There's nothing they can do about it. Their respawn timers are quick, but well, they might get here in time. But they're not going to have wards. They do have
Slark
a
is just
wall.
gonna die if he goes in there. Is that their
They have a sentry there. Yeah, he walked right by a sentry. They see him. Now the Eclipse is going to come out. He tries to pounce and then ults away. He is going to get out of there. The dust isn't going to help here. The Witch Doctor ult does go off. The Ring of Aquila dropped onto the ground here from the Luna. Now they're pinging out more. The tree walks in here. Does he have an ultimate? He
What
does
is
in
the
about 3
tree
seconds. He's got
doing?
overgrowth in 2 seconds. 1 second. The Coconut's just bouncing around there. Baksu doesn't have any mana right now. They may actually have to walk away from this. The overgrowth comes out as well as the vacuum, and here comes the wall. Baksu and Incendium are the targets that are going to walk through that. Now Hale's BKB'd up. He's trying to kill Major Dune here. He goes right through the armor. He does pick up that kill there. Now he's going to turn onto the Treant. He's going to maybe pick up him. No, the Shackle comes out right as BKB ends. Deacon has to walk through the wall to hit Cillian. He does hit him. One more hit and he's dead. He picks up that kill there, but now Deacon's in trouble as the meatball comes through. He's just going to burn alive. A double kill there for Rhombacube as it's a 3-for-3 trade, and now Roche actually is low enough for Rhombacube and Shiroshi to just munch through him, and Shiroshi's got Silver Edge in his stash. He's got 2 ultimate orbs sitting in his inventory right now. He is really close to Scotty. All of a sudden, Slark is jumping up the net worth charts here as D&M are feeding away their core heroes just a little too much.
Shiroshi, your back has to be just so. You are playing out of your mind on this game, my friend. That's all I have to say on that. Some of these team fights are just crazy. I think DMM, their biggest flaw in that one, though, is they did not commit to the Roshan. They got so scared about that Slark, even though they had a sentry there. I think they probably should have just, as soon as the Slark backed off, he burned his invis and his ult. They could have probably picked up Roche and then maybe potentially turned that team fight, but I think they hesitated way too much when that tree walked in.
I don't know that it was necessarily fear as much as it was they wanted to kill him. Like, it looked like they were running out to kill him, but then saw that his ult was up and then turned back in there. Again, though, Tidehunter didn't have mana in there. Like, he doesn't have mana boots. He's only got 585 mana. This not having Ravage is killing DM.
The Ravage is kind of essential for most of their team fight. I mean, it's what is most of their control. I mean, you have the Coconut and 1 stun from the Ogre, but that really those stuns are kind of to set up after the Ravage.
And
so
I
you're
understand
not able to get that Ravage off.
I understand why they picked up the mech first. Like, you had a chance to go uphill early on there. Like, that was a good pickup at the time. But just the fact that he goes Blink Dagger instead of Mana Boots, like, he needs the extra mana. He needs to have something, Mana Boots, possibly a Soul Ring on top of it, so that if he gets EMP'd, that he can immediately mana up and then Ravage, because I guess the thinking is that now he wants to sit back so that he doesn't get Tornado EMP'd, so he can just wait for that to go off on the rest of his team and then jump in. But he's just so limited on what he can do with his mana. And they're actually going for Decon here. They've made a rotation. The pings are coming out from both the Invoker and the Slark, but he's going to blink back into the trees here and TP out. BKB up 10 seconds on the Templar Assassin, who denies that mid tower. So she's still looking pretty good. I mean, if you look at the graphs here, there's been a large swing, but it's still definitely it's a 6K gold and about a 4K experience lead for DM, but they can't afford to keep giving up these big fights.
Yeah, you're, at that point, you're putting DotaWeeb right back in this game, and they were really in a really good spot for a while. Now let's see here. We got only an 8-second BKB left on the Luna. Looks like we are possibly having a smoke. Nope, looks like they don't have any smoke, so that's not it. So they were just kind of gathering.
She's actually going into the jungle here. He picks up Baksu, who's going to throw out a gush, and the Invoker here as well. Cold Snap does come out here, but Baksu manages to mech up. He does get tornadoed into the air, takes some damage from that, but not enough to kill him. The Aegis will be reclaimed in about 2 minutes, so probably just going to see DM try to farm things up in the interim. And actually, Baksu's going to get picked up again. No! Slark jumps in behind the trees, and he's stuck back there. The TA trap gives vision, and now he's going to take Lucent Beams. He's taken some right clicks from Decon. He's going to have to ult to get out of there. He does do so. The Lucent Beam now tearing apart Shadow Shaman. He does die. Major Dude's going to die as well as the Ravage does connect. There's 2 heroes down. The Slark is down. The Aegis is popped. The meatball comes in, though, now in the deafening blast. Decon's going to burn to death. Baksu's going to be the next one to die. And now Heyo's going to have to run for his life as he's going to get pounced up, and he's going to die as well. 3 dead, now 4 for DM, and a triple kill for Cillian as he died almost instantly, but those wards just doing work in the middle of that team fight. And there's another 4K gold swing and 5K experience. So when that graph does update, things are going to be almost even here, as DotaWeebs has mounted a huge comeback.
I mean, I wouldn't have expected it to be as good as it was, but I will say the Quas Wex is helping a ton with that. Now, it also helps that his experience is so high. He does have a lot of DPS, too, because that meatball and Deafening Blast is just helping out so much for helping clean up these team fights and kind of off-balance the fights. So Luna does have buyback status. Do you think she's just going to hold it and hopefully they don't lose a Rax?
They do have a glyph here, so they're not... Doesn't seem like they're worried about the ranged Rax. They'll probably glyph for the melee once the creeps die. No, they don't need to because they're going to back off. So just... I think it's one of those things where the T3 and the ranged Rax probably aren't worth the buyback. If you die next fight, then you're going to have to buy back, but... As well as DotaWeeb is doing right now, I can't help but feel that it's mostly because of the misplays that we're seeing here from D&M. Like, they were playing so well in the beginning, and then they've taken 4, maybe 5 really questionably bad team fights in a row. Just poor locations, not having mana.
Time, what you said was true. I mean, Tide recognized he keeps getting out of mana, so he had to walk up to the shop, buy arcane boots, and then blink back into combat. At that point, the fight was halfway over. So I think now that he's got his mana on, like he can actually cast all of his spells, he's going to be in much better shape for these team fights to actually get the initiation off, which I think will help a ton for DMM. They just can't take another loss like that, though. They're going to have to play their A game and really nail it on their terms.
Guardian Greaves are now finished on the Treant Protector. Darkseer has components, it looks like, for a Crimson Guard. Cillian going for that Aghanim Scepter. He's got a point booster already. Boots of Travel, and Aghanim's up on the Invoker. So he's going to be able to start doing a lot of rat and very quick responses very soon here. Let's see, Shiroshi does have the Shivas completed. Not the Shivas, the Scotty completed. And the Treant's going for the the Courier, but it only has smoke on it, so.
Oh, they're going to
Shiroshi,
pick up Basku.
No, they're going to go for Heyo here. They're going to go for the hard carry. The Shamans, the wards are committed as well as the Ravage, but it doesn't matter. The BKB is here. Is he going to be able to regen enough life here? The Eclipse is doing so much work, and it kills 2 heroes, but Shiroshi's still standing in there. Heyo, though, is regenning so much health because of the life steal. The dust did connect. No, it didn't connect there with Shiroshi, and they're going to go into Decon. Decon's going to have to throw up Refraction. The meatball, though, is going to get rid of that really quickly. The meld isn't going to help here. The stun's coming out, and the Dark Pact kills. Shiroshi is just dominating these fights now, and the Witch Doctor's going to get caught in the ice wall. He's going to die too, so 4 now dead for DNM, and DotaWeeb going to look to take this set of racks. This is going to force out buybacks, and Luna doesn't have one because she bought up a full butterfly between those fights, so this is just a racks down. They can't get anything else unless they want to go for T4s because they do have T2 towers still up and available, but they are going to pick up the first racks of this game. And if we look at our graphs, we can see that a 10k Radiant lead has now become a 4k experience lead for DotaWeeb, as well as a over 10k gold lead now, stretching towards 3,000 gold lead for the Dire.
These fights are just crazy. Like, they're picking off DNM when they're just not coordinated enough, and you're hitting Ravages on maybe 2 heroes at a time. And where Ravages is so powerful is when you hit so many targets in the middle of kind of an initiation. And since it's more of a defensive reaction, his team doesn't have a very good disengage, and Witch Doctor was nowhere near that fight either and didn't even get his ult off. So the fights are just being chaotic, which totally benefits the side of DotaWeeb. Their heroes work much better in chaos versus DMM.
And it's the power of this Treant right now is really what we're seeing. Like, he was in that, like, they have wards up on that cliff, but I think those were placed afterwards maybe. But still, he's walking around in Viz on the Radiant side of the map. He's scouting things out. He's doing so much work in terms of just giving information to his team. You know, he's essentially like a tankier form of the Beastmaster Hawk at this point. He's just walking around, and he doesn't even have Ags. He's just scouting things out. He actually picked up a Vladimir's, so going for more support / utility items for his team. This Slark is going to be next to impossible to kill because he's got a BKB. They're going to have a Vlad's coming up here. Like, things have gone from being totally in control for DNM to where I thought that they were going to have to do a lot to lose this fight or this game, to where I think DotaWeeb now is in total control and they're going to have to do a lot to lose this game.
Yeah, at this point, DNM are gonna have to just nail the ults. I mean, we're talking perfect execution and good protection on their main cores, and get a good core kill because of the ults. They can't just kill the supports, otherwise the cores on DotaWeeb are just gonna destroy them.
Major Dune is still running around with no boots. I cannot get over this. Like, I've literally never seen this before. Like, we are 40 minutes into a game, and he doesn't even have brown boots.
I don't know any way how to do it, but I wish we would know if that's
Shiroshi actually gets amped into there, and he's going to pounce into Decon. He throws up the BKB, and then the Ravage doesn't connect with much, but here comes the wards, and the Death Ward doing all kinds of work on Major Dune, but he's already thrown down the wall, so he doesn't really care that much. The Incendium's going to die. Heyo dies, immediately buys back. Now Baxu's going to die. Decon in the middle of things, and he's probably going to die as well as the Dark Pack comes out. And then the Treant comes out, and Heyo's going to die back. Decon is bought back, but he doesn't really have much to contribute here, as it's just him and the Witch Doctor. I think this might be GG.
Yeah.
It is. DNM going to call it as Baxu calls him the GG, and I am almost left with no words. Like, this game looked like it was a lock for DNM around that 16, 17 minute mark, and then DotaWeeb just capitalizing off of some bad decisions and bad execution from DNM and stuck with it till the end here.
I mean, big good job on DotaWeeb to not back out and not give up, and they put their heart and soul in that game, and that was a well-deserved win from their perspective. And I am with you. I have no analysis. I think we're just gonna have to move on to the next game and see if DNM can bring it to a 3-game series.
All right, so we're gonna be looking for a little. DotaWeeb's gonna be looking for a little more of that, and DNM gonna try to regroup here in game 2, which will be coming up in just a couple minutes. We will be right back, guys. guys, we are back here for game 2 between Dirt and Men and DotaWeebs. And as we can see here, as we switch to the captain's mode overlay, as something is going on Sequoia's computer, we can hear, we can see that the first bans for each team are identical, the Abaddon and the Void, and then each team electing to switch it up a little bit here as we see a Luna ban instead of the Vengeful Spirit, and OD banned out instead of the Death Prophet, and we can see why Death Prophet wasn't banned by Dirt and Men this time around. It's because they want Decon on it. So we saw Decon just go absolutely bananas last week, and he's back on it, and he's going to go up against the Invoker again. So they hadn't picked it before today, and they've picked it 2 times in a row now.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. He must have been practicing it in pub games or something like that, because he actually played really well. I didn't really like his Quas Wex build at first, but boy, that mid to late game really, it won him those fights against that Tidehunter who just didn't have enough mana to do anything.
Yeah, it was one of those things where I thought they should approach things differently, but hey, it worked out for him. They capitalized off of some potentially questionable fights put on there by Dirt and Men, but they were able to kind of power through and win the game. And the Lich, the pickup here as well. Good lord, what are you snapping?
Sorry. I'm just contemplating what they're gonna do with this Lich in this lane. I don't know. What do you think about the Lich? He's a okay lane dominator. I just don't think he brings enough to the table.
He's a good lane controller. The sacrifice is really good for that. The blast is pretty decent. He's got good team fight with the ultimate. I mean, it's a little RNG based, and you can definitely separate out and get away from it. But I think he partners okay with some offlaners. Not necessarily going to be like the ultra support that Vengeful is, but not many heroes are. I don't think he's top tier. I'm a little interested, I guess, in why they picked him first phase, but I don't think he's like an awful hero.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you at all on that. I just think there's so many good support still in the pool. I mean, unless they have a really solid plan and they just want to crush a lane or something like that, which Lich is pretty good at doing. But otherwise, his ult just seems to be, I don't know. Whenever it seems, if it's really good, it happens really, really well. But it seems like it hits 1 or 2 heroes and then just kind of dissipates.
And once again, as I'm looking at the Dota buff here for the AD2L tournament, DotaWeebs has never played Lich in this tournament, at least in a ticketed match. Like, it's possible that they played matches that maybe weren't played under the ticket, but Lich, another maybe one of those pocket heroes that they had stowed away just in case. Second ban phase, we see a familiar face in the Juggernaut, and the Slaughter actually banned out as well. I think Slardar probably prioritized a little bit more than by DotaWeeb than by Dirt and Men, to be honest. But still kind of prioritizing that off lane and trying to get rid of some things that might cause them problems.
Slaughter is really annoying to deal with, but his win rate, at least in the majors, has been pretty dismal so far. So I think it's one of those heroes you have to snowball really, really well. And if you're worried against being snowballed against, then it's probably a good core to pick off. It's also actually pretty good timing to light up with the Death Prophet. So all in all, not a bad ban.
It's got good synergy with the Vengeful too.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the Witch Doctor would have been a really solid pick for DotaWeebs, so that's a pretty decent ban on their side. What do you think DotaWeebs is going to go for more supports? Are we thinking more Lion and Control, or more just lane dominator supports?
It just depends on what they want to do with their carry and with their offlaner, and how much support they're actually going to need. In the last game, really, Slark honestly didn't need any support in that lane. He needed people there if they wanted to get kills, but he could have just stood there and farmed basically the whole game, and there wouldn't have been much Tide could have done about it. So it just kind of depends on how that is going to go for them.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see what they pick up next, if they want to go for some supports or if they're going to go for their cores. Looks like Anti-Mage is out, which is always a good ban against someone who has a massive mana pool like Lich and Invoker. and also someone who basically is 100% dependent on mana, the Invoker, as a core hero as well.
I don't know why I'm muted on Dota TV. I shouldn't be.
That's what our stats man has reported to us. I'll just kind of keep rambling,
I'm
and then
open mic
looks like
here,
the
so I don't know what's going on.
The DotaWeebs picks up the Tidehunter this time, makes it into phase 2. And I think that is actually one hero that synergizes with the Lich pretty well. If you can time the Ravage and the Lich ult at the same time, it gives that Lich ult a little bit more time to do some bounce around. However, the Dirt Men are going to bring out the Omni Knight to help with that massive amount of magical damage coming on the side of DotaWeebs, and I think that's a pretty dang solid good pick. Basically allows them to have a free BKB on their cores, and will also allow Death Prophet to do her thing. And since there's not a lot of right click yet on DotaWeebs, she'll be able to move in and out and not have a whole lot of damage done to her.
Alright, I think that maybe I'm coming through on Dota TV now. I don't know for sure. I honestly have no idea what's going on. I didn't change any settings, but there it is. I don't know. Thank you, Dota, I guess. It's set as open mic, so. Yeah. Interesting to see roles reversed here as DotaWeebs picks up the Tidehunter. Also interesting. I can't get away from this. Interesting to see if Major Dune's gonna pick up a pair of boots this time. Like I can't let it go. I'm sorry. I
get what he was thinking. Like, oh, I don't need boots because I have Surge, but it's one of those things. Maybe on paper it sounds really good, but man, in practice, you're just so kiteable and so easy to get away from. And I mean, really, Major Dune didn't have a lot of good initiation, which is really what you want for the Darkseer. So I think Boots and Blink are going to be very essential for Tidehunter eventually this game, depending on how the laning phase goes. Obviously, it's always an option to get a mech or something like that first, but I think eventually you're always going to want to have Boots.
So as we look at the lineups right now, DotaWeebs looks to be moving away from that like early game like push strat and more towards team fight, because I mean that worked pretty well for him in the last matchup once they started to actually get some fights to go their way. Dirt Men look to be a little bit of push early with the Death Prophet and the Vengeful, but also have some really good late game team fight as well. So it looks like DotaWeeb's going to need a support, and Dirt Men going to need an offlaner. DotaWeeb's picking the Spirit Breaker as their last ban. It could work fairly decently. There's some synergy with the Omni Knight. It'd be good aggression. I think Night Stalker would actually be a pretty good pickup for Dirt Men. He could play in the off lane with the Omni Knight and not be too susceptible to death. He'd give you a lot of vision. Beastmaster is also, depending on if they've got, if Baksu could play it, I think Beastmaster would be a good option. You'd have Hawk Vision, you'd have crowd control and pace control with that ult.
I think this is a game where Vision may actually give you the upper edge, so I definitely agree with both those picks. Being able to see where the Tidehunter is, being able to see who's going to initiate you, whether it be the Invoker or even potentially the Bane now, I think would give them a pretty large advantage, especially going into those team fights.
Yeah, Bane's a great lane support for the Phantom Lancer, so the Lich doesn't have to sit there the whole time. He brings good team fight with the Fiend's Grip. So a great addition there from DotaWeebs. Interesting to see where Dirt Men are going to go with this, but most likely need some kind of offlaner or offlane partner for the Omni Knight.
Yeah, I still like the Vision. I think Beastmaster and Night Stalker are probably my two favorite picks. But if you were wanting to have more DPS and damage, a Darkseer wouldn't be terrible, depending on what you want to do with it.
They do like the Weaver as well, which would provide some damage.
Actually, the Weaver works pretty well with Omni Knight too. That's actually not a bad pick. You can do the heal while he's still invisible.
So that's a possibility. I think personally I'd like the Beastmaster the most out of those three, but the Weaver would bring you some good team fight. He'd bring you some good early game aggression. He'd have the Lincolns to, to prevent at least, or hopefully prevent, like a Fiend's Grip or, a Frost Nova or something of that nature.
10 seconds to go.
The only bad
Chain
thing about
Frost.
Weaver, and apparently we're both
Enchantress.
wrong. They
Okay.
picked the Enchantress.
Yeah,
Does that
it's
mean
not as
we're gonna
much
go?
vision,
Oh,
but it does provide early game aggression in team fight, provide some push and some late game stability. A little bit harder to kill than a lot of heroes, so it doesn't provide the sight that we think that they need, but it does provide some decent fighting strength.
well, I mean, we're definitely.
It's not a game of Dota without a pause. And if you've been watching the major, it's not a game of Dota without a 20-minute pause.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Alright, so looks to be roles are pretty much the same. Rombicube on the Invoker, Calliope on the Lich, Cillian on the Bane, Major Dune Tide, and Shiroshi on the PL. And pretty much the same thing here. We're going to have Baxu on the offlane Enchantress, Incendium on the Venge, Decon on the Crabulus, Kinglam on the Omni Knight, and Heyo on the Ember Spirit. So looking at these drafts as they are right now, disregarding everything from the last game, even though it's maybe a little dangerous to do, who do you think takes this game?
I think DotaWeebs lineup's easier to execute. I definitely am going to lean to more of them. I'm such a big fan of that Tide initiation, even though it was not that way last game. If they can get that off,
Hey, look at that. Major Dune has boots. 1 minute into the game. All right.
Legion is never gonna give you. is never gonna stop.
I'm never gonna forget that. Never. I'm never seriously. I've never seen that. We didn't even have stats for it. It's never been seen before ever. First time, new meta. All right. Both teams actually looking
if
to
Major
venture
Dune is
bottom
Spencer
here.
Jones, shout out to you.
Both teams looking to go for this bottom rune, try to contest things down here. And DotaWeebs actually, they have a really good early game fight team. Depending on where they decide to go here, they do have a smoke, and so they are smoked up. They're going to go aggressively around, pinging all the way around the pole camp, and they're going to run into 3 heroes here who are completely... Oh, Incendium, is he going to walk into time? He breaks the smoke, but he's going to die for it. There's the gush. Here comes some tons of right-click. Kinglam, if he's not careful, he's going to die too. What? He walked in there. He wasn't paying attention to his hero. He's going to take a lance to the face, and now the EMP is going to connect. He does heal, but it doesn't matter. He's going to fall to the right clicks as well. So 2 deaths right away for D&M, and DotaWeebs could not have asked for this game to start any better. 2 kills. Rombicube's going to pick up a nice little bounty. And things have set up
the first
perfectly.
blood went on the Phantom Lancer too.
And he got an assist out of that as well. The Bane picking up a kill as well, so that 4 spot most likely picking up some much needed gold. So right out of the gates here, things looking really good for DotaWeebs, who do seem to have potentially a little bit easier win condition. That's not to say that D&M can't win. It's just they're gonna have to be top notch, top of their game for the rest of our little match here, and I hope that they do, because these guys played a terrific game 1, and I'd love to go 3.
I definitely would like to see a game 3 as well, and we'll have to see how Major Dune can do in this lane. With the boots, he's able to get away from the Venge Spirit much easier than last game, so Enchantress is unfortunately getting just bullied by this Bane and this Lich, who actually has a pretty freaking sweet set. I will add that to the commentary as well. And what do we got for CS so far? Looks like the pretty small in the CS wave so far.
It's only a minute in. I mean, they're not going to have much.
It's only first wave. But looks like the Ember's actually doing pretty well so far. Fairly uncontested. Major Dune can't do a whole lot against this Venge. Venge is just really well situated for dealing with these offlaning heroes, and the Enchantress is about in the same boat, just kind of getting completely bullied out of lane.
Well, the thing with Venge is once she gets level 2, maybe level 3, her and Heyo are going to be able to probably kill the Tidehunter by themselves, just with the scream and the short stun. Even if he debuffs the stun, and actually, oh my goodness, missed the first laning stage kill there, as the Bane leads the tri-lane charge into that tower and ends up picking up a kill for Enchantress. So I'm a little surprised that the Omni Knight isn't in the off lane here with the Enchantress. I know that it's a big thing right now to get that off laner some solo experience. I just don't think he can stand up to she can stand up to this tri-lane by herself.
No, and unlike the Tidehunter, she has to go. She can jungle a little bit, but she's also very susceptible to ganks by the pair of supports that they
Decon
have
actually
on the
taking a
side
ton of damage here. Cold snapped up. The Link is going to come out here. The Forward Spirit, though, tanking the tower. No, takes a couple hits from the tower, just dies. Thought maybe that Cube would try to go in for that with that Forward Spirit, but elects to play it a little bit safer. I would actually argue, going back to that other point, that it's way easier for the Enchantress to kind of come back in a game.
It's way easier to come back, but do you think she's more susceptible? Oh, and Hayo's gonna. Oh, he definitely aggroed that perfectly. Good work. Gets out of that death.
And I missed that one too. So we're off to a spectacular start here on the kill cam.
But do you think she'd be more susceptible to these aggressive supports that they have on DotaWeeb if she did have to back off into the jungle?
I mean, that's assuming that they do that. Last game, they didn't really decide to do that. Decon actually in maybe a little bit of trouble as Cillian has rotated into this mid lane. He's going to throw out the Spirit Siphon onto Cube and do a ton of damage, but he gets nightmared up, and that'll be the end of that. I don't know. I think that if things go poorly, if she dies one more time, it's much safer for her in the jungle than it is in that lane. Even if the supports decide to rotate. If the supports decide to rotate, you can throw up wards. I mean, you can have defensive wards up in the second phase. Like, normally, you want to be a little bit more aggressive probably with your warding, but if things are going that poorly, then it's just going to be better to move into the jungle. But instead, she just moves into the side camp, but it is sentryed up here to block that, so she's not going to be able to do that anymore. She's got an Urn of Shadows basically finished. It's just waiting for the courier. So she shouldn't die anymore, especially with the supports kind of roaming around now. The Bane is doing a pretty good job of moving between mid and top, and he needs to help out Cube, who's actually doing fairly well here. Arcane Rune is popped on Decon's Death Prophet, but the CS battle is going much better for the Invoker this time around than it did last game.
Yeah, he's having a much better game.
And the PL's farming much better as well, so concentrating more on the farm instead of the hero kills. I just don't think he was very efficient with his farm, which hurt in the early game. And then once he able to kind of snowball off more kills once they were super far behind and the bounties got bigger, he did a lot better. So I think that it definitely favors Shiroshi to get some good CS here in the beginning. But at the same time, Ao's doing pretty well bottom as well, so everything's, for the most part, pretty close. The supports are smoked up and rotating in here for DNM, so the Vengeful Spirit looking to try to pick up some kind of kill here for Cube. They're not going to get anything if they're going to wait up on that cliff. Baksu's here as well. Oh, maybe he's going to wander.
Maybe he's really close.
He wanders right into the middle. He does take a magic missile, and now here comes the Spirit Siphon. The dust does come out, but Cube now in a little bit of trouble as he's taking a ton of damage. The right clicks are going to be enough. Another Spirit Siphon picks up the kill for Decon. The Nightmare, not enough to save him. Incendium just kind of toggles off that Nightmare so that his core can walk away, and then that's going to be a good kill there for Decon. So Invoker getting a little bit too aggressive with his placement there, with the supports not on the map, and DNM a 100%.
Oh, Hayo's in trouble down bottom. Tide's getting a ton of damage on him, and the
chains are going to
come out.
A ton of damage. They have Lich might get a kill here. 1 hit, 2 hit is going to be enough. No, the phase boots are good, but the Invoker's on strike just behind him. The heal was there, so it wouldn't have killed him anyway, but a good shot.
It was it wasn't a level 1. He's starting to boost Exhort now. That was actually a higher level Exhort than I thought it was.
So Calliope saved his offlaner there, because I think that with the chains and being able to kind of walk out of range for a second there, the Flame Guard most likely would have killed the Tidehunter if he had been able to stay in. So
yeah, it was a good rotation from Lich. Did tall play there and almost a kill on the carry there. And Phantom Lancer is just getting basically whatever he wants up here. It is all Phantom Lancer all day for this safe lane on the Dire side. 39-9 compared to the 29-13 Ember Spirit. So pretty good that he is only 10 CS ahead of the Ember, but he is just going to town on these creeps.
He's going to push into the
And
tower. Actually going to miss the pull here. So I don't know if you watched it today. It was pretty informative, pretty great. AD2L put out a video about efficiency of farming into this dire lane, and I'm sure you could do the same thing in the radiant lane as well. But just really focusing on killing the creeps in the wave as quickly as you can and pushing things towards the tower. And then at 52, using this this hard camp to stack and pull at 52 seconds into the wave there, and just snowballing your farm off of that. So looking for maybe a little bit more efficiency there as he's just kind of pounding the creep waves into the tower and then walking back.
Invoker got a double damage
So
rune.
now
Looks
we
like
have
he is going
Lich
to move
and
on
the
mid.
Invoker rotating here. We've got the Bane on the other side here, so he is surrounded from all sides. Baksu's creep does see someone. Deacon's going to take a Lich Blast to the face. The Ice Wall does connect there, but he's still just going to be able to walk away from all three heroes. So it's a lot of time wasted from the Lich and the Bane, even though Incendium and Baksu did smoke, it appears, to get into range of that to help out. And now the PL, Shiroshi is going to doppelganger up, and he's going to kill the first tower of the game here all by his lonesome. So that is a nice influx of gold for him, as he's sitting at 52 and 9 as well.
Major Dune's in trouble. Bottom lane,
Dune now
going
is going to get chained up, and he's taking a ton of damage from Flame Guard. He tries to go the other way, but the Ember Spirit throws out the remnants, and he's just going to tick down to Flame Guard damage. Doesn't even need the right click. So another kill onto the Tidehunter as rotations do come down towards this bottom lane. Rombicube is invised up, but not going to do anything about it. He does have an early Midas this game, so that tells you how much better things are going for him. Last game, not so much. Had to go first item Mules because it was so late, but this game, he's got sub 8 minutes, or around 8 minutes Midas, which is a pretty good time for that. And he wants to get a kill down here in the bottom lane. And Omni Knight, maybe a candidate for that kill, as we've got 3 heroes rotated down here, 2 supports, as well as the Invoker. Ping does come onto the tower. The Lich is going to posture like he's there, but the Bane is here, and now he's going to throw out something. No, he's going to just Brain Sap, and now they're going to right-click down, and the Omni Knight does fall to that kill. So in the meantime, Heyo does pick up a kill on the Lich, who extended a little bit too far. Decon throws out the ultimate, and now he's looking for a kill on Major Dune. The Spirit Link is going to connect there with slowing Major Dune and doing an incredible amount of damage, but he's got boots this game, and he's running away. Is he going to get out? He's so close, 12 health, but he does die to a ghost that catches him just in time.
Wow.
That was so close to being able to get away there, and instead we see a 2-for-1 trade as well as the tower. But as that's going on, PL is just having his way with his top lane. He's got about 1,000 gold more than the next hero, which is the Corobulus. He's picked up a drum, and he's going to look to increase his farming potential even more. While Major Dune is TPing here towards the mid lane with Rombicube and the Lich, who throws out a line there saying that the rotation is coming, but they're going to try to do some damage to this tower anyway. Multiple heroes are on their way here as the Omni Knight and Decon on the Corobulus are heading towards mid, but no, they're not going to find anything. The Dire are just going to back away and get a little bit more farm.
And her ult is down, or Crob's ult is down for a little while, so
Shiroshi
should
TPs to this mid lane.
maybe they do want to take this lane. Maybe they do want to take. Yeah, I think they want to fight here.
Yeah, they know that the Corobula ult, the Death Prophet ult is down, so they can kind of force this a little bit.
But Major Dune is not 6 yet. He does not have his ult online yet.
I don't know that they need it, to be honest. If he tanks it and just kind of throws out an Anchor Smash or 2, he's going to be fine. Heyo actually takes a Nightmare and sees a ward. He's going to get a free 50 gold for that. Lich's got to be careful trying to go in maybe a little bit aggressively. He does not have an ult either, so the best course of action for him is going to be stand back. Shiroshi throws out a Spirit Lance after Decon, but then just kind of backs up after that. They don't have creeps in range of the tower here. In the meantime, Cillian is just kind of hiding out in this back lane, trying for some kind of like wraparound Nightmare protection, but he's not even close to 6 at this moment.
Yeah, there's so many heroes that are just on the edge of getting 6. It's kind of silly. And at this point, Decon's going to have his ult online here in about 1 second.
Yeah,
now it's back online.
DotaWeebs has wasted too much time with this. If they wanted to go, they needed to go right away and hard after these heroes, or they needed to spread out and farm Major Dune. Yep, he's going to get caught again as the Flame Guard Remnant followed by the chains. I was actually following along that time. Cillian's actually following from behind here, throws out a Nightmare on the Ember Spirit, and PL is here as well, but there's rotations coming out from the Radiant supports as he remnants away quickly, and then turns around to come back. Impetus is coming in from Baksu as Shiroshi tries to attack him. He's actually doing pretty good work of it, only level 2 on the Untouchable, and now Shiroshi may be in a little bit of trouble. The Invoker Sunstrike is going to connect with Baksu. We're not watching that because we're trying to see this PL if he's going to die. The Spirit Siphon is going to come out. Decon is on a killing spree now. The heal comes out onto Decon. He's going to run away. He's losing life very quickly. There is a repel available from the Omni-Knight, but just waiting to use it to see if he's gonna need to heal again, but he is not. So we have a 2-for-1 trade there. Baksu going down in exchange for the PL, and was the Bane that died? Bane that died? Or did he tie them?
Yeah,
Or both? I don't know.
Bane.
Maybe it was
Bane
three.
and PL died.
So it was a 3-for-1 basically. So good trade there for DM. They have another Exorcism up, so they're gonna try to take another tower here. But DotaWeebs, they don't want to give this away for free. The swap does come out here onto Rombacube, and there's the Lich Ult. The Chain Frost is bouncing around. Incendium takes a ton of damage. Fairy Fire's up, trying to get away. Calliope's going to die to the burn damage here from Heo, and now Heo's chasing after Major Dune, who's chasing after Incendium, and Incendium actually gets around. He's still probably going to die, but he's going to get a kill on the Major Dune. No, they're not going to kill him. He's nightmared up. Heo is now going to get Fiend's Gripped, and now Heo's going to die, so a great turnaround there. I thought maybe that with her dying breath that the Vengeful would be able to tick off that Nightmare and then they'd be able to get the kill, but not quite the case, and now Baksu is just getting murdered here. He takes the Brain Sap, and then he takes the Shiroshi Lance, and now he's dead, and now Decon is out in the middle of nowhere, nightmared up here. They're waiting for it to tick down some damage. The Repel actually going to come up here, but now they're going to turn on Kinglam, and Kinglam's going to throw out a Purify, but I don't think it's going to matter. They're just going to chase him down here until there's another Lance available, and there it is. He's slowed up, and now he's dead. So another kill here for the PL. Decon walks in initially, but then has to force himself to get back there. So as good as the fight before went for TNM, that fight goes tremendously well for DotaWeebs, in particular Shiroshi, picking up a lot of kills and gold in that fight.
Ooh, and he's going to have his Diffusal Blade pretty quick with the amount of gold income he got off that fight. And Decom was very lucky to not go any further. Otherwise, I think they might have fed another kill away. They really need to watch out for these going in one at a time. There was actually a decent amount of unnecessary deaths in that fight, and I think that it was just a little bit of lack of communication from the side of DNM. I think they need to be a little bit more careful on throwing these kills away. That's definitely not what you want to do with DotaWeeb's lineup.
So we see some dewarding happening, as well as a little bit of rotations from both teams, trying to kind of get back into a position to farm some more.
And it looks like, everybody's backing off. Probably just more go into a farming frenzy right now for a little bit until some of these alts come back online. Our good friend Major Dune finally has his Ravage online, so that is going to be a huge tool that DotaWeeb can use in some of these fights. And Sylem's being really annoying with this Nightmare and keeps getting him on these heroes down here, which does allow his team to beam in. It looks like they want to put a fight at mid.
Yeah, it's gonna be a 4-on-3 engagement here. They do have the Ravage.
Ooh, dodge the
does come up here in
silence.
the Fiend's Grip, followed by a Lance, and now the Sunstrike's gonna come in. Here comes the Ravage, and down goes Decon almost immediately. Incendium's gonna be the next to fall, and Heo, if he's not careful, he's gonna die as well. Major Dune taking a ton of damage from the Impetus, but Heo's gonna pick up a kill on the backside with the Flame Guard. The Chain Frost bouncing around here, but the Omni-Knight ult is gonna come out, and a nice little sleight of fist there to get away from things. And Major Dune is actually gonna fall to an Impetus there, and now Shiroshi, he might die. No, he doesn't die, but the Lich dies as well. Now Rombacube jumps in there, and it's a full team wipe. DotaWeebs, man, that was very close. It could have gone either way at many different points. Shiroshi so low, but a clutch use of abilities there as Rombicube's able to land a nice Sunstrike there to end Decon right away in that fight. They have a Ravage as well.
Middle tower has been
So
destroyed.
very well put together the fight for DotaWeebs. Even though they do lose a number of heroes, they get that mid-tier 1 tower and they get a full team wipe as well.
There's a Haster in top lane. If Invoker sees it, he could go grab that and start doing some more farming in the jungle, or he can just not go get it. That's cool too.
So it does look
But-
like the Invoker is going to go for an Orchid, but stops his build to pick up a nice little Boots of Travel. So wants to be able to get from one side of the map to the other, much like the Ember Spirit. And the Diffusal is almost done. It's about 200 gold away for PL. That's going to be a huge team fight item for him. I think he gets that, and then he starts to tank up something like a Scotty, maybe a Heart even. And I don't really think that there's a whole lot that DNM can do to kill him at that point.
No, they really need to get this Ember farm. He is very, very poor at this point in the game. I mean, he's third in the net worth, but if you turn in terms of items, he only has Phase Boots and Aquila.
He's really close to
wow.
his Battle Fury, though. I don't think. I mean, as far as Ember go, like it's a struggle. It's a struggle to do anything on Ember until you get that first Battle Fury, and he's almost got it. It's gonna be maybe another minute until he has that. So I don't think he's in the worst position. And he's top of the net worth for his team. He's only 1,000 gold away from the Invoker, and he actually might get a kill here on Cillian. Does miss with the chains, and then a Fiend's Grip comes out, and here comes the rotation with the PL. A Spirit Line's going to happen, but the swap connects onto Cillian, and now Heo's going to just walk away until maybe he can get a kill here. The chains, oh, they would have picked up the kill, but instead Incendium throws out a right click, and now they have to run away from Major Doom because he does have a Ravage. The Chain Frost does connect here with 2 heroes. It murders those heroes. Luckily, Omni-Knight was not in vision range of that ult. He throws out a nice little shield on himself using the repel, but I don't know if it's going to matter. It's only level 1. Here comes the Spirit Lance in a gush, and now Rombacube is just going to tear him apart. A double kill for the Invoker. 3 dead in exchange for the Bane. Heo thought he was going to have an easy kill there, and then there was just a really good rotation coming out of DotaWeebs as they see that Bane in trouble, and PL was nearby farming up.
That's the big disadvantage when you have that middle tower still online when you go up against a Dire. Even in the, I know they weren't Roshing, but they were definitely in the Rosh area. That mid tower is such a good beam in point, and their heroes just rotated so fast. Now I think it's going to be an easy tier 1 for DotaWeeb.
And they're not even going to have to trade this. They're going to push through this so fast, and then they'll be able to just TP up to top. Tide is just going to backline this, allow this team to munch down that tower. And they might actually decide to trade this, trade a T1 for a T2. They do have a glyph available, so they can delay a little bit here the Radiant push while they move as a team on this T2 bottom. And that's going to open up the map so much for DotaWeebs. It basically gives them access into the entire enemy jungle. They still have most of theirs protected. Even the T1 is taking some good damage, but even when it's down, there's no way they're going to be able to push the T2. So D-Ward battle here. As who gets the first sentry? Oh, Bane actually able to pick up the sentry first. They both put sentries down at almost the exact same time and then just traded blows. So that's an easy T2 tower. Now it looks like that the Captain Lich here, the Calliope, wants to go straight down the middle. And
I'm surprised they don't try to pick up Rosh at this point. I mean, all the lanes are pushed out. They have an okay Rosh lineup.
I don't think they could kill him. I mean, maybe with the Forge Spirit. It's going to take a while, though. And they have a good advantage right now. I think you just push it. If you get another tower, maybe take a team fight and then take Rosh. I don't know. Because the PL illusions don't do anything against him. So basically they have the Forge Spirits and Anchor Smash to mitigate some damage. Oh, Incendium actually takes Fiend's Grip, but gets the Magic Missile off in time, but still going to die here as the Diffusal Charge is going to connect, and then Bane takes the kill from Shiroshi. He says, no, I need this gold.
Kill? Secure.
And he's actually almost got a drum, so... Actually,
the Bane's getting a drum?
Yeah, he's got Aether Lens.
Yeah.
Aether Lens a drum, so trying to tank up a little bit while adding a little bit of utility. The drum charges are gone for Shiroshi now, so it's not a bad. It's actually a really good item, I think, to pick up. I really think drum is kind of underrated on support heroes and underutilized. Those charges are really important.
I love the stats it gets to you too. I mean, that obviously the charges are awesome, but It gives you overall really good stats, especially when you're a Bane who's inherently reasonably tanky, anyways.
And this is going to be a free T2 tower here, so I think this is kind of why they wanted to push a 39. Wow. So if you're struggling with Omni-Knight and pubs, apparently Invoker is the way to go.
Man, that's actually pretty surprising. On paper, it sounds like Omni Knight would be so good against Invoker, but it's probably because of his cast animation and
Spirit Lance does
how
connect with
fast.
Decon, but a nice little slight chains combination there, forcing him back, and now Major Dune is Spirit siphoned up. He does throw out the Ravage, but he's going to die anyway, so it was a purely defensive Ravage trying to gain space for his team to be able to run away, and it, does look, Shiroshi just barely misses the edge of another sleight of fist, but now they want to go for Rambacube, who gets Yulesed up into the air. He's silenced now, but does get invisible. The Chain Frost is going to connect with multiple heroes here, but it doesn't matter. Calliope's probably going to die. The Spirit Siphon is out onto Rubikube now, and that's going to end that, as I think he landed a deafening blast there. It looked like they were disarmed for a moment.
Yeah, he did, but unfortunately, I think it's also going to be a tier 1 tower going in the favor of DNM if they can get their heroes lined up here. Yep, here they come.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
So as well as things have gone for DotaWeebs so far, it is actually pretty close. The core heroes are all sitting about 9k gold. Enchantress is actually sitting about 2k over. The Tidehunter, as we say that, Heyo gets Fiend Script up, and he's just going to get murdered here, but he does throw out a nice sleight of fist here, and then the chains as well. The Flame Guard protecting him from the damage, and actually he's going to end up with a kill! A double kill there as 4 have died, and now Major Dune's in the middle of things. He wanted to get the kill on the Ember Spirit, but the Ember Spirit just gets healed up. It's a triple kill for Heyo, and DNM take a huge fight there. They're going to take not only a T1, but they can take a T2, they take a team wipe, and afterwards they can go down to the Roche pit, and there's a nice little DD rune sitting there for them, so they can just take complete control of this early fight. Oh my goodness.
That was very, very unexpected, and that Omni Knight heal on Hayo and plus his sleight of fist dodge was key to that. That was very impressive play, and they're actually not going to go for Roche.
Major Dune expected the Roche as well, but maybe feeling just a little bit insecure about that because key spells were down. The DD turned into an arcane like right as they got there to it, so maybe just play it a little safe, win another fight like that. And if you look at the net worth now, look who's catapulted to the top. It used to be the 2 cores for the Dire up there, but now it's that Ember Spirit. And like I said, once you get that first Battle Fury, you can do so much more as an Ember Spirit. You start to level that Sleight of Fist up because it starts to actually do damage for you. He's got an ultimate orb up. He's got 1,500 gold in the bank. Gonna have Scotty here in probably another like 4.5, 5 minutes, and he's gonna be a very big problem for DotaWeebs, as they don't have they've got good lockdown for him, but if somebody like the Omni Knight can get repel on him, or if the Omni Knight or even the Enchantress maybe picks up a Lotus Orb or a Lincoln Sphere, they could do so much to protect him from basically one lockdown spell. Like the Fiend's Grip is the only thing that he has to really worry about.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. In that Fiend's Grip, even though he does have Ethereal Lens, it's still going to be very hard to hit. There's a lot of stuns over on the side of DNM.
And actually, Ember Spirit's just going to have a casual ultimate orb for the moment and picks up a Perseverance. So maybe looking for a little bit more regen and some more damage in the form of another Battle Fury. Or maybe he's going to go Lincoln's. I guess that's the components, right? So I guess he's recognized that Fiend's Grip is the only thing that can kill him too. And so he's just going to go Lincoln's for himself.
I don't think either way is a bad decision. It kind of just depends on what you want, a more defensive or more aggressive item. I mean, the big advantage of having dual Battle Furies against a PL is you can mop those illusions up like mad, but
yeah, I'm almost
at the same
certain
time,
that he's going to go Lincoln's. Like, I didn't
stake
even
bet?
think of... Stake bet, sure.
Right,
you want to
sweet.
Bet me that he's going to go Battle Fury over? I'll take that
Yep.
bet right now. Like,
all
yeah.
right, all right, I'll take it.
Yeah,
I'm
because
going Battle Fury.
I'm almost certain it's a Link, because I buy Lincoln so little. Nightmare comes out here on Decon, but he's going to get... oh, God, I can't see it. The Fiend's Grip onto the back, so I couldn't get the camera to move there, but now it is here. The heal's going to go, and Celian's just taking a ton of damage. He's just going to die to the Enchantress there, so tries to be a little sneaky, and just gets caught out But like I was saying, I buy Lincolns so little because most of the time I'm not a huge fan of it. But in this game where you only have one targeted spell like that, it's gonna be a Lincolns. So
And if it is, that's fine. I will cook my steak for you, nice, medium rare, and it'll be delicious. But if not,
and actually, Decon
dang, it is Lincoln's.
Decon picks up the Octarine as the Lincolns is also bought out there. So yeah,
all right.
it was my dirt moment where I was like, why is he buying a Perseverance? And it's like, oh right, that's a component. I don't play a lot of Lincoln heroes.
I was pretty sure you were right, but I was like, maybe he's
the
thinking
Orchid here
Spirit
comes
was-
out onto Decon, but he's going to use himself to try to get out of it. Now maybe a Repel, the heal comes out, the Spirit Siphon does come out, and they have to actually pull a Ravage for that, as they are going to pick up 2 kills, but Ravage is down now.
Dire's top tower.
I don't... Oh, Baksu, actually, they might pick up a 3rd kill here. Yeah, they pick... Okay, so I guess the Ravage was worth it. I didn't think that it was going to be with just the 2 kills there, but picking up a 3rd, all right, sure.
Very surprising. The Ravage actually just clipped the Ami Knight, and then Baksu didn't react fast enough to get out of there, even though he wasn't very close to the fight at all. But it ended up being a pretty good fight in the side of DNM.
So Yasha picked up on PL, so going that Manta style. The Orchid, like we said, was finished on the Invoker, and he's going Aghanims next. The drum finally, well, not finally, it hasn't been that long, but the drum is finished on Cillian. So this is a pretty intense game right now. It's 27 minutes in, it's 23-21. If we look at the maps here, we can see that it's been a little bit back and forth, but it's still relatively close with the advantage about 4K gold for DM and about 2K experience. So as far as things go, I mean, for 28 minutes in, this is an incredibly close game. Either team could capitalize on a big fight and take this all the way. Interesting to see where we go from here. Also
Yeah,
interesting.
definitely.
Excuse me. Interesting to see who's going to go for that first Roche.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised it hasn't been more contested yet. I mean, neither team has an amazing Roche lineup, but it's not a completely awful Roche lineup either. So I'm just a little surprised, especially, I mean, potentially you could even use Exorcism for it if you were really wanting it. It might not be worth it, but I guess the Octarine core is online, so it might be worth it now.
The ghosts,
if you can.
Yeah, the ghosts connect with Roshan, right?
Yeah. Well, at least it used to. I don't know if I've actually seen that in this patch, just because alts are just so important right now in most of these team fights. But looks like DNM's going to drum up, and they're going to go for this PL. They really want him.
Decon is being super aggressive, throws out the Yules on the PL, but now he's going to run into the rest of the team as the Chain Frost does come out. It only hits Decon, does not bounce to anyone else. Major Dune has
Ravage
the ball
up
in
in
10
10.
seconds. Fiend's Grip is on to Decon. He's going to fall. Nothing he can do about that. Now DNM is just going to have to run away. The Remnant does come over the cliff, and now Baksu is the only one maybe in harm's way, but he's going to be okay as well. But in the meantime, bottom lane here, Rombicube is doing rat kind of things. He's got 4 spirits, and he's doing some decent damage to this T3 tower. So you think Necro Book the pickup after the Aghanim Scepter for the Invoker?
Absolutely. I think the Necro Book is an excellent pick, and he has someone else's Mango. I don't know why. Can he use it?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so either, so that's kind of silly. But,
and kill here maybe for Hale as the Anchor Smash does connect here, and followed by a Brain Sap, and then he's going to have to Remnant out as he was enfeebled. And Rob McCube was on the way with the Orchid. So trying for an easy kill on a support, but turned out to be not so easy because help was nearby. And Shiroshi has paused his Manta-style build-up for a nice little Helm of the Dominator, so looking for some sustain on him. As Calliope picks up an Invis and ducks into Roche.
And Baksu's got almost has his Ags on Enchantress, about a little over 1,000 out, and as Invoker picks up his Ags, and then he'll be able to do long-range damage from in these team fights, which I think will be very, very helpful, especially when he's trying to probably position himself so he's out of the Ravage, just because Enchantress is so vulnerable to all the burst damage from the side of DotaWeebs. So, do you think Roche is even on these teams' minds at this point? I mean, so far, they haven't even really scouted it. Oh.
Yeah, she can, but if he's gonna split push like that and she's not around, I don't know.
That's an interesting point.
It's not it's not a great item,
It's
but if things get really bad, they could do it.
And the nice thing is PL does scale pretty well in the late game. I mean, I don't think he scales as well as the Ember.
So
But
here's a fun mechanics question as the smoke does come out here from DotaWeebs. Can Enchantress enchant an illusion? I don't think she can, but that'd be sweet if she could.
I think she can, actually.
And
but
actually, they're going to smoke into the Roshan pit, so we were wondering who was going to try to pick that up first, and it does appear that DotaWeeb is going to be the team, so Major Dune tanking it up. Shiro, she pumping out some damage. Well, now Major Dune has decided he doesn't want to tank it up. The Vengeful Scream does come in, but she is all by her lonesome. Not much she can do there. Major Dune, you're so much tankier than the PL.
It's taken them, as we said before, they don't have the most amazing Roche lineup in the world, and the Invoker's not here.
There.
Oh, there's the Invoker. Throws down the Tornado.
Decon silences him up. No, he missed it, but the Ravage comes out and misses almost everybody. Hits only Baksu. The Ember Spirit throws out a Sleight of Fist that almost kills Calliope in one hit. The chains are there as well. Heyo's just chunking away here. The Shiro, she's going to die immediately. The Aegis is down. The Exorcism is up, and now Major Dune's in a lot of trouble. He might die here as well. He's going to die to Baksu maybe. No, he's going to die to the Omni Knight. Baksu's going to throw the Impetuses up towards the PL, and the PL just a nice little couple slights from Heyo, and he just dies. So they do get Roshan, but 3 heroes die in exchange for it. And now they're just going to go right up the middle with this Exorcism. 3 heroes down. They may be able to force out a buyback here if they're super concerned about this, but the Altus should be ending. Yeah, it is ended already. They're still going to take a T3 here.
Yeah, if not
throws
more.
out a nice little Sleight of Fist chains, and then the swap comes in. Robocube in the middle of things here. He gets Spirit linked up and silenced, and he's dead. Unstoppable streak for Heyo, as they have taken a close game and turned it into the first set of racks here. Lich is Spirit linked up after the chains. He's not going to die thanks to the Nightmare here from his team. The Tornado is going to connect on multiple heroes, the EMP as well. But they've got what they wanted here. The Meatball's going to kill Incendium. Decon's just going to be able to run away, and another slight chains, and now Robocube taking Impetus damage, and then the Remnant forward here. He wants to go for the kill, but he doesn't quite do that. The Link is caught there by the Lich, and now Hale just farming creeps in the back line as Invoker is forced to move backwards, and the PL is still dead for so long. Doesn't decide to buy back. They do lose the set of barracks there. The fight recap a little bit behind, but then we can. Yeah, that's what I figured.
Oh, okay.
It would be a little crazy if that worked, but it's just kind of cool when you see something like the Darkseer, where the PL walks through the wall, and then all of a sudden you've got like a million PL illusions on your team.
Yeah, the only thing I was thinking, if you could, I didn't think you'd get any of the abilities, but or the passive.
Well, if you can copy it, it gets everything. So like if Morphling does it, it's the same thing. So like if you have a Morphling on your team and you replicate the PL, you still get the spells.
Oh, wow.
But Enchantress's thing, so illusions get treated like heroes by spells. So it makes sense that things like Helm of the Dominator and the Enchant would not.
So it says on Enchantress's tooltip, illusions can be converted.
Well, I think it's wrong then.
Valve?
I'm like 100% with Just the Worst that they changed that. So.
Oh yeah, I'm not disagreeing at all. I just think it's kind of funny that's in the tooltip. That wouldn't be the first time a tooltip's been wrong though.
Crimson Guard actually picked up by Major Dune. Honestly, I don't think that stops much. The Impetus is pure damage. The Sleight of Fist is physical, so I guess it stops some of that. But I don't know how that's counted as... So I guess it stops some of that damage, but it's not great.
I would have loved to see something more like a Shiva's or even an AC. I really like Shiva's.
Refresher even.
Or a Refresher, yeah.
He doesn't have the mana for it right now, but... I don't know. I don't think it's a bad item. I just don't think it stops as much damage as maybe he thinks that it does.
Yeah, Crimson's not bad on Tide. I think there's just better defensive items if that's what you're gonna go for.
So they're gonna D&M going to look for an aggressive push here on the top lane. This tower is almost dead. Lich thought about TPing up there, but then he sees Heyo in the front lines and says, "No, thank you." It's gonna be a free tower. The repel does get cast onto Heyo. In the meantime, Invoker is down on that bottom lane trying to push things out, but he's not going to be able to push this fast enough as D&M have recognized that there are a couple heroes out of position. There are multiple heroes mid. There's one in the bottom lane, and they're going to go up into this. Deacon's got his Exorcism up, and they're just tearing through this tower here as Deacon and Heyo do so much damage. And accompanied by Baksu, the Centaur, and everything else. Major Dune in the middle of things, and a great Ravage connects on 4 heroes. Baksu, the Chain Frost is bouncing through now. Incendium is taking a lot of damage from this as it bounced between him and the creep a couple times. Decon does die here, but the stun comes. Oh, the impetus shot! No, it misses uphill. Heyo's doing so much damage. The magic missile was debuffed immediately by the Tidehunter, and then the impetus shot misses uphill. Another Sleight of Fist comes out here as Heyo is tornadoed up and EMP'd, but he's going to remnant out before anything can land. The meatball connects with almost nothing. Baksu's going to die there to the Tidehunter. Anchor smash, and now PL's diffusal's up. Heyo, he wants to go man on man, but the heal destroys him, and now the chains on the Major Dune, the Sleight of Fist to dodge skills, and now DotaWeebs is in some trouble, but the base for D&M has already died. There's a trade there at the bottom lane. Racks do fall. Decon does have a buyback, so they trade Racks for Racks. They trade 2 heroes for the PL. Overall, I think that's still a positive trade for D&M, especially since now that the only Racks remaining for them is this bottom lane where they were going to have to worry about the balance there anyway. Oh, okay.
Oh. All right,
Oh.
Valve. I apologize. I apologize, Valve. I was giving you shit.
I still don't think it's
giving
that.
you shit.
I still don't think it's that good, but
No, I don't. I never said it was good. I just thought you probably could at the beginning, but
it'd be funny if it worked like Helm of the Dominator, where you could make like a tankier illusion, but like, you know, if you charmed like a CK illusion, it wouldn't be terrible because they do 100% damage. But
yeah, I think it would be more annoying, and it would probably die very quick if you do it.
Yeah. All right, so like I was saying, the bottom ranks being down isn't really that big of a deal for D&M because they've got T2s in both other lanes. The other lanes are going to naturally push out with the super creeps there, and so they could just kind of wander and push as much as they want to and then just TP back if they need to. It does look like Decon has the teleport scroll. They are pinging out Roche, but he's down for about another minute and 20 seconds.
No, they just
deny the TP scroll there.
Show those guys what's going on.
So there's a TP on Decon, there's a TP on Heyo, and a TP on Baksu. So they do have the tools to go back if they want to, and they are actually going to send Heyo back here. He does have a remnant, I'm sure, somewhere around here, maybe.
I don't see one.
Nope. Okay, apparently he doesn't have one. Oh, wait. There's one on the ramp. Okay, I found it.
Oh, okay.
He does have one there, so he just splits back. And we can now push again, guys. So that big wave is gone. So if they want to push that top tower, it's going to take them a little bit more time here, even with the Invoker having Forge Spirits relatively soon. And he did, in fact, go a Necronomicon, so I am awesome.
I thought that was a good idea as soon as you said it. I did not think of it, though.
So we do have what looks like a little push, and Heyo's checking the Roshan. Actually, that was about a minute till a half till the timer comes up, and it looks like we're going to have a almost full respawn. It's going to be 11-minute respawn here, it looks like, for the Roshan, if I'm reading the clock correctly. So the minimum...
1 minute.
Yeah, the minimum timer is expired. Oh, never mind. It changed it, so it's, yeah, a minute and 25 seconds-ish.
Yep.
Yeah, so we got Repel onto Heyo, so he can be suicidal and blink into things here like that. He throws out a nice little sleight of fist here. Remnants back quickly, and Decon throws out the ult. Major Dune throws out the Crimson Guard. He does have an ult, but he's silenced up now. And now wow. PL is stuck in the middle of things, and now the Ravage connects. Boxu's in a little trouble. Shiroshi is getting wailed on by the PL. The Chain Frost bouncing around, but it does get stopped on the Ember Spirit. But now the Tidehunter and the Lich are both low. So Boxu has died, but no! Just a nice sleight of fist there from Heo as he gets repelled up once more. And now the base is dying. It could be mega creeps here. Invoker's desperately trying to push, but there's not going to be enough. There's no way he can do enough damage. Heo decides to TP back. What is he doing? He's leaving his team alone. Decon throws out Shiva's Guard and tries to TP desperately. He does get out. The Vengeful Spirit, though, Incendium is looking desperately to escape, and thanks to his creeps pushing up the mid lane, he is going to escape. So,
Wow.
hey, I was a little...
I think they were a little scared of that, but I think they could have probably ended the game there.
They did lose a T3. They were probably going to lose both barracks, but they were going to get mega creeps in return, and there's no way Invoker's going to push T4s with, 2 towers sitting in the middle as well. So maybe just trying to play extra safe and hey, we'll get it next time. But Invoker's just going to do that again next time, or PL is going to do that again next time. He's got boots of travel as well. And next time, PL was desperately trying to defend the base right there. Next time, maybe PL just TPs in with Invoker and they just try to throne it. A questionable decision there. I think that was a little bit of panic, like you said, but that could come back to be a decision that really haunts DNM. I mean, it could be a decision that comes back to be totally insubstantial as well. But if they go on to lose to something like they die, a couple heroes die, and PL just crazy base rushes things, the Roshan is up, the Decon ult Exorcism is up, but here come the Dire, and Tidehunter Ravage is down for 38 seconds, so they don't have to worry about that.
Make it.
And it doesn't matter. It's going to die here. The EMP is going to connect. The Death Prophet does pick up the Aegis at the last second. Chain Frost bouncing around doing a ton of damage, but Hale's BK beat up. He's just going to kill Major Dune. He might kill Shiroshi as well. No, Shiroshi doppelgangs up to the top. The Sleight of Fist can't quite kill him, but the Death Prophet blast does. Calliope takes a magic missile to the face. He dies too. Major Dune buys back, but it doesn't matter. Invoker is in no position to win this fight, and now Major Dune has to blink away to safety. So they do end up getting the Aegis. They do end up killing the Enchantress, but they have to buy back 3 heroes now, and they still might lose the bases. They have no Chain Frost. They do have a Ravage. They don't have a Fiend Script. So Hale, 1 hit, 2 hit. There's a barracks. Now he's going to back up here. He's repelled up, so he takes no damage from or stun from the Ravage. The EMP is out there, but Yule's out of it is Decon. Hale's chasing in for more. He wants to kill Shiroshi. Shiroshi doppelgangers up. He then Sleight of Fist in at the very last second. He does get the kill on the PL. He is enfeebled up, but it doesn't matter. He's just going to charge in here for more, and there's another kill for him as the Sleight of Fist connects, and the Invoker buys back, but I think it's too late. This could be GG here. Heo is just out of control right now. Partnered up with Decon, they have so much push power. They have so much team fight.
Oh. The Invokers go. Oh,
GG is called here. 18-2-14 for the Ember Spirit, and we are headed to our first playoff, Game 3, here on All About Dota.
Yeah, great play for DNM. I was a little concerned for a while, but they ended up turning out in the end.
So anything can happen with these two teams. As we watched in Game 1, a comeback victory. We see in this game is not quite as drastic, but there is also a comeback victory. And so with 2 games in the book, we're going to look to Game 3. What are your expectations for that one, really quickly?
Very close.
All right, so we'll see if your outstanding 2-word prediction can come true in Game 3. We'll be back in just a couple minutes, guys.
I can earn my stake back.
All right, Game 3 in just a couple minutes, guys. All right, guys and gals, we are back for Game 3 action between Dirt and Men and DotaWeebs, part of the AD2L Playoff 2 series. It's a best of 3. We are in our first ever AD2L Game 3. And as we switch to the draft here, we can see that, honestly, not much has changed. We see Void and Abaddon banned out, even though they are banned out by the same team. We see a Crobulus ban this time around, and actually we see an Omni Knight ban as well. Omni Knight doing all kinds of work there for Heyo, allowing him to bypass the BKB. He essentially had BKB Lincolns, and he only had to buy one of the items. So a really great utility play there here for our Dirtin men to even up the series. So as the first picks come out, what are you expecting here, Sequoia?
I will be surprised if there's not a tide in the game. Just
Yeah.
gonna throw that out. I think. Oh, dang it!
Vengeful
Can we go
Spirit.
back about 30 seconds so I can say Vengeful Spirit?
Yeah, that's another safe pick. I agree, though. I think that Tide is probably something that we're likely to see, and for some reason I'm coming up muted again. So let's see if I can figure that out in Dota TV before we get out of draft.
I can start rambling here on what I think is
All
going to
right,
be
now
next.
we're good to go.
Okay,
OD's still in the pool.
We haven't seen. Have we seen a ban on OD yet?
Yeah, he was banned the last game by Dirt
Okay.
Men. So maybe now that the Crybulus is out of the pool, they could pick up an OD. They could pick up the Invoker here if they wanted it for themselves, even though I don't think we've seen Decon play it. Yep, there it is. Okay, so Invoker, it's kind of a no-brainer as well. Most likely here is going to be a support. We've seen that core support duo here. There's a number of directions they could go. They could go the Tide Hunter if they wanted, though. They could go the OD here and pick out 2 cores right in the beginning. Maybe a little dangerous, leaves you open to something like an Anti-Mage or a Silencer ban or a pick. But they could do that if they really wanted to, and they thought it was going to get through. I think Witch Doctor's probably a safe bet, though.
That's what I was just going to say. I think Witch Doctor. You could potentially do a Lion too. Those are probably 2 of one of my favorite supports to pick in the first phase if Venge is out of the pool.
I just don't know that we've seen Dirtin Men pick up the Lion, and we haven't, but they do pick up the Witch Doctor in a lot of matches. So, I mean, the Witch Doctor is available, something that they like quite a bit.
And I think Witch
Lena's
Doctor.
available.
No one's going to blame you for picking a Witch Doctor. But yeah, Lena also another good solid support, a little bit more on the greedy side. Does it require a potential little setup to hit the light strike away? But we're going to go with the tree. That's what I like to see.
Okay, so again, kind of prioritizing maybe a defensive type support. Last game we had the Omni Knight, and that tended to work out. You know, protect Heyo, let him get some farm, give him some protection, let him destroy the other team. So maybe something similar here with the Treant Protector. So probably going to be looking for something with some synergy between the tree and the Invoker. Actually, the Overgrowth is great setup for like a Tornado EMP. So they've already got some good team fight synergy going on right there.
It's even good for a Meatball Deafening Blast. I mean, really, you can go either side on the Quaswex or Exhort, and you're in pretty good shape.
So DotaWeebs taking a little bit of reserve time here. You know, if you want to talk about those big core heroes that you pick in the first phase, the Tide Hunter is still available.
I really like the Tide to counter-initiate the Treant, too. I mean, if Treant... Now, you could also say that Treant can counter-initiate the Tide as well, but I think they kind of... the Treant's ult is kind of a poor man's Ravage.
And I think if either team wants to get greedy, especially Dirtin Men, I think an Enigma is actually a really good pickup. You've seen Enigma quite a bit in Shanghai, and a lot of it is because that pushing potential, the team fight addition, and neither team has really prioritized like super aggressive supports. Like there's been some rotations that have resulted in kills, but it hasn't been like a primary focus, I don't think.
Yeah, actually, I like the Enigma idea quite a bit from the side of Dirt and Men. Treant needs absolutely no farm. He needs way more experience than farm. And so you could rely on the Enigma to get that early mech and start pushing up, which works really well with the Invoker, and then having Tree to kind of help make sure all of your lanes go the way you want them to go globally would be kind of a nice setup for him.
The one problem with the Enigma would be the Vengeful Spirit swap, because it does go through BKB. So basically Enigma would have to like guarantee that either Vengeful is dead or that she's not in a position, like she's in the black hole. So that could be a potential stopping potential roadblock there for an Enigma pick, as we see Lich, Witch Doctor, Enchantress. So a lot of the heroes from the last game actually getting banned out. Witch Doctor and Enchantress, both really strong heroes. Lich, Dirt and Men just probably felt that DotaWeebs did too much with it, or maybe they want to push them out of their comfort zone a little bit. So choosing to ban something that they apparently like to play. We didn't really talk about the Viper pickup. I think that it's a decent lane. I mean, it's a lane dominator, which is really good against the Invoker. If you level up the passive ability there, I can't think of the corrosive skin. Yeah, we go. If you level the corrosive skin up early on, you're going to limit the amount of harassment he can do to you. So a potentially good lane there, though we did see, if you watched Shanghai again last night, and I know this is a little bit different between amateur and pro, but we did see Viper get kind of torn apart. So definitely some vulnerabilities there, but a great tanky hero, good frontliner.
Yeah, the other thing that's nice about the Viper is, they're banning out a lot more ranged heroes than melee heroes. So if Dirtmen decide to pick up a melee core, it does help quite a bit against that. It really is a really good kiting hero, especially since that ult just slows down melee heroes and makes them almost useless for a while. So if Dirtmen do want to pick up a melee core, they're going to have that to deal with.
So
might have been also a pick to kind of make Dirtmen think about not picking up the Tide if DotaWeebs is maybe hoping to pick up the Tide after this phase.
Yeah, but as long as the Tidehunter is like cautious about his positioning, it shouldn't matter too much. Warlock's actually the pickup, so
but
I was gonna say I'd be a little surprised if they picked up the Tidehunter with the Treant. I just don't know if there's a huge overlap in synergy there. Like, you hold them in place for an ult that holds them in place. I just don't really see the lineup there. But Warlock ult there, you're going to hold them in place for a couple golems, hopefully, to land with some chains and then just do all kinds of damage in the middle of it. So definitely some synergy there. I do like me the Warlock. Interesting to see if it's going to be support. Like, that's not a support duo that I'd be super stoked about. So maybe something like a safe lane Invoker with like a mid Warlock or an off lane Warlock Treant Protector. But if that's a support duo, it's kind of a weak support duo.
Yeah, you're definitely not going to get a whole lot of kills likely in the laning phase unless something happens to go really, really well for you. I like the idea of more of a core Warlock anyways. I think getting those ults online fast and getting your items up is really, really effective. Even if he just lays down his abilities and having the Invoker to kind of back him up, he could do a ton of damage with the Golem's chains and then the slow plus the tree and ult.
And it's not even that he needs gold so much. I mean, gold is nice to have because you can get the double golems or the quadruple golems or something like that's nice, but it's not as essential as the levels that he needs from a solo lane or even a dual lane. Like, he just doesn't do well in a tri-lane because an under-leveled Warlock isn't going to bring much to your fight. Like, he might have like a, if you've got a tri-lane going on, he might have a level 2 chains and a slow, or like a level 1 or 2 heal and a slow or something. Like, he's just not going to bring that much, so he needs to get levels. So interesting to see what they're going to do with that. Undying picked up by DotaWeebs, so again, you've got more slow, more team fight. He's good against those strength cores, so maybe again kind of trying to limit the Svens and the Ursas of the world. Darkseer picked up, so there we've got the offlaner for Dirt and Men. We're going the big time wombo combos.
Man, that's one of the bigger wombo combos I've seen in this tournament so far. That would be if they land that. That's game.
So ideally, we see Blink Dagger, Darkseer, Vacuum into a Treant Protector Overgrowth, followed by a Golem, Chain Golem slow.
So I don't know if there's really much point in this conversation, but I'm going to bring it up anyways. Would you want to Warlock ult first or the Tree ult first? I'm thinking Warlock Chain Tree ult because then the golems have more time to beat down and cause more chain damage.
You're right. I think it'd be like ideally you'd see like Vac Wall, Golem, Chain, Overgrowth, and then the Warlock slow following that. That would be the like, and then you'd have like Tornado EMP and like Meatball. Like, there's a lot of wombo combo. Let's just leave it at that.
So at this point, I mean, it seems to me that Quas Wex is going to be a really good pickup for Invoker this game. If he can set up a wombo combo with that Tornado, I think that's going to be the play. Does he think that's accurate?
I don't know. I'd be a little worried. Like, Tornado is great, but it can also like really screw things up if you're not quite on the same page as your team. So like, you Tornado at the same moment that Darkseer blinks in and vacuums and miss everybody. Like, so. And if they're gonna play it safe lane, Quas exhorts the build. Like, they're gonna need damage.
Yes.
So I don't. It depends on what this last pick is here. DotaWeebs probably going to be looking to pick up a support next, I would say. I would say that the Undying is most likely your offlaner. Potentially the Viper. So you could either support or mid.
They think a Gyro's next. They think the Warlock's a support.
That would have been good. It would have been more team fight, big AoE ult to go into the wombo combo, so it would have been a good pick. Anti-Mage. Okay, so I was going to say I think that they will pick a carry, even though I don't necessarily think they needed to, but it adds an element of damage, late game, a way to deal with the Luna, even the Viper. And Disruptor's the last pickup here, so a great anti-mage counter. You can either bring him back or take him away, depending on what you need. You can throw down the ult to keep him in place, so a great counter pick there at the end is, once again, we have the mass disconnects at the beginning. So we're in Game 3 of a winner-take-all semifinal matchup. You've got these lineups sitting in front of you. Who wins? That close. Or are you just muted? Somehow I think that he's talking and we can't hear him. So I'm gonna give an answer until I hear something from him. As I look at things right now, I really, really like the wombo combo from DM, and I love, as much as I hate the support duo, I love the anti-mage pickup, especially on Heyo and the things that we've been able to see him do. So in a late game battle, I'd probably take him, but if DotaWeebs can maybe snowball, they have a really good snowball lineup. I'm just not sure about their mid to late game, especially against those big alts.
This has nothing to do with anything, but man, that tree set's cool. Sorry, I just love tree at all, so I had to say that as well.
But answer my question now that you are unmuted.
Okay, so I have to add. I wonder. Yeah, I think if DotaWeeb can win the lane, it's going to be pretty tough to come back at it for D&M. But again, I mean, just like it's very, very common with the meta, the laning phase is going to determine who has the advantage, and I think DotaWeeb has a pretty high likelihood of winning the laning phase.
So we've got same roles. We've got another pause. We've got Incendium on the Warlock, which is most likely going to be their kind of 4 support. Heyo on the Anti-Mage. Kinglam on the Treant Protector. Decon on the Invoker. And Baksu heading on down towards the off lane in the Darkseer. We've got Calliope on the Disruptor. Shiroshi on the Luna. Major Dune on the Undying. Rombicube on the Viper. And Cillian on the Vengeful Spirit. So we started with a Luna in the Radiant side. We finished with a Luna in the Radiant side. Let's look at
The
some...
Disruptor set's pretty cool as well. It's kind of creepy looking, but it's pretty neat. Tree set's definitely the best, though. What we got for Arcanes?
We've got some some little effigies here, but
Slow Gravity.
some pretty decent stuff. All right, so I don't really know what else we can talk about here. We've already kind of talked about things. Let's talk about lane matchups. So Invoker Viper, I would say pretty even, but with a slight edge maybe to the Viper.
Yeah, I think it's a slight edge to the Viper, but I guess the reason I'm probably going to give it to the Viper is the rotations from D&M are going to be a lot weaker than the rotation from the supports from DotaWeeb.
So then again, it looks like we're most likely going to have. Actually, we're going to see Radiant going all. Well, they were going all up for the top, but now they're all beyond the Major Dune, heading up towards. It was heading toward the bottom room. So how about offlaner matchups? So both offlaners going to probably be up against a tri-lane. We're going to have the Undying up against the Anti-Mage, Warlock, Treant, and we're going to have the Darkseer up against the Viper, Venge, and Disruptor. So who's going to get more out of that lane, the DS or the Undying?
I think Undying will. Undying is just such a good offlaner against tri-lanes. I think it's a lot better off-laner than the DS with the supports that are on the side of DotaWeeb. I mean, if you can pull the him back in a nice glimpse and lock him in a gate, that likely is a kill.
Yeah, I don't even know if they necessarily need the gate as long as they wait for the surge and then they just glimpse him back. It's a kill. I agree. I think that the Undying has a better matchup, not necessarily because he's Undying, but because the support duo that he's going up against is much weaker in getting kills, and they're gonna have a lot of strength for him to steal. So carries, we've got Anti-Mage in the safe lane and Luna in the safe lane, tri-lane. What do you think their farm's gonna look like?
I think they can both potentially get good farm. It's just going to depend on how much protection the Anti-Mage is going to get with the supports that he has. If Undying is not able to provide any harass on him, are we going to get an aggro tri? We are totally getting an aggro tri lane.
Okay, so it looks like they're actually going to rotate the supports away, let Luna go one-on-one against the Darkseer, so pretty confident in her ability to kill those creeps with the Ion Shell. And they're going to just try to be aggressive and allow or stop the Anti-Mage from farming. So I guess the game plan from DotaWeebs is to not let Heo beat us. Like that's basically what happened in the last game, and it almost happened in game one, to be completely honest. Like Heo and Decon were just so far ahead of the rest of the pack there, and so lots of aggression coming out here. They know the support duo isn't very good. It's got some heals and a little protection, but it's not going to be able to do anything to zone them out at all. Hale's going to struggle here, I think, to get farm now that we've got that rotation coming out. So a really heads-up play there from DotaWeeb.
Yeah, that was a genius rotation. Last time that Luna went against the Darkseer, it was backwards though, right? Yeah, it was backwards, but Luna was able to do pretty well. So if he's able to replicate what Heo did on the other side, then he should be in pretty good shape. We'll see how the CS does in a little bit though, but as of now, the Anti-Mage is actually doing okay and is actually out CSing the Luna at this point.
So now that we see the plan, I actually really like DotaWeeb's draft quite a bit more. Like the game plan really seems to be like give Rombicube a lane dominator that can limit Decon's farm, because Decon did really well in the early game of both games and then kind of tapered off a little bit towards the end, and then prevent Heo from farming like at all. But now they're going to have a magic missile onto Hale. He's going to take some damage. They do have the lightning, but he's just going to blink away thanks to the armor provided by the treant. And now
Warlock might
Incendium's
be in a bit
taking
of
quite a
trouble
bit of
now.
damage as he's getting tanked down here by some right clicks. One more. Ooh,
Ooh.
the Fairy Fire comes out. So the Decay not quite able to get him. And Calliope, oh, the Sunstrike's not going to connect there as he goes up instead of down. And he's just going to teleport back towards the base. So very close to first blood on both sides, but neither team able to eke out what they needed to do it. And actually, here we go. Heyo's going to come in on Major Dune here. He's going to take a magic missile to the face, and then a Treant Protector is going to chop down one big ol' massive 88 damage fist onto the Vengeful, but did not have Leech Seed at the moment because he was not level 2. So again, not going to be able to do anything. Boxu does take a Lucent Beam to the face, but it's only a level 2 beam. Yep, level 2 beam, so not a ton of damage for him. He's going to go back and pick up a Soul Ring. So a nice little timing there, 3 minutes on the Soul Ring. He's going to be able to start spamming out multiple clouds here really quickly. And if we switch on the game stats here, we can see how each team is farming. Both safe laners actually kind of sit there. Everybody's sitting around even. The Viper is definitely doing better in his lane. But both the carries are kind of struggling a little bit. Feels like.
Yeah, Luna's actually doing very poor considering the idea, I think, was to divert more farm to her. The Darkseer's doing a really good job on not letting her get any easy CS. Now let's look at level comparison. Luna does have a little bit more experience than Darkseer. She's gotten a couple denies, and unfortunately, just how the Darkseer plays, the tower gets ambushed by the creeps a little bit more, so he's not able to get all the experience. But in all, it's a pretty even matchup down there.
I think though that like when you're comparing her to the anti-mate, like you're not necessarily like you're conceding some farm doing this. Like I think the idea is mostly that we want to limit Heyo, not necessarily, and then recognizing that it's probably going to limit Shiroshi as well. Like she deals pretty decently with the clouds, but she still has to like deal with the clouds.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh, I thought it was a Viper rotated up. So I think that DotaWeebs just probably wanted to get a kill out of that, and they were really close in getting it. They just didn't quite get it. And so I think they're a little bit bummed at that. But things are going still pretty even so far, and 5 minutes in and no first blood yet.
Both teams kind of being a little cautious. Like DotaWeebs is playing kind of an aggressive game plan to keep Heyo down, but at the same time they don't want to give up first blood to him, because if they do that, like the whole point is ruined, right? But instead they're going to be really aggressive here, and Calliope is going to throw in the fence. The Tombstone does get dropped, and Incendium is pretty low, but Calliope is as well. But Incendium's going to be first blood here, picked up by Major Dune there, as there was enough damage to pick that up, and then the Sunstrike picks off the Disruptor. So a quick exchange there for Decon as he's able to pick up a return kill. But a very, very well done there. Heyo got a little jumpy. He may have been able to pick up that first blood a little sooner, but it was probably too risky. Like he was right to get out of there, but there's always a chance. In the meantime, Luna's just kind of farming up here in the bottom lane. Has kind of picked things up a little bit and has actually passed the anti-mage. So things going pretty well for her now, as she's starting to kind of take control a little bit, and the Viper is sitting neck and neck with Invoker, which is kind of what we expected.
Pretty good. Yep. And we do have a full Quaswex Invoker coming online, so kind of like we were saying, probably definitely this. Oh, sorry, Quest. Wow. Oh, getting tired. Which, as we were saying, is a lot safer. You don't have to worry about the poor miscommunications about the tornado and ruining your amazing wombo combo you have a potential of getting, and instead go for a lot more DPS. So
yeah, and on top of that, they don't have DPS outside of anti-mage either. Like,
no,
you know, all the other heroes are for the like their wombo combo only. And Decon's an aggressive player, at least from what we've seen in the last 2 weeks. Like he likes to go out into the front and challenge heroes, and so Quaswex art makes more sense in that way. Is that you can just get up in their face and do a ton of damage with the cold snap and then the right clicks. So
just some massive damage to Heya here. Are they going to get the glimpse? It's so close, but not in range.
It's only level
Unfortunately,
1.
It's in level 1. I think if they would have had level 2 glimpse there, might have been a kill on anti-mage, but it would have been close.
Incendium now taking a ton of damage. Magic Missile is going to connect. Calliope is going to glimpse him back in front of the tower, but his teammates have backed off. They are a little too scared. Vengeful was low on health, and Major Dune was CS'ing it away. Now Heyo's going to take a right click, but he's going to return one from Calliope and burn the remaining remainder of his mana as we switch down to the mid lane here, and we've got a Hand of Midas recipe already up on the Invoker. Thanks to that nice little return kill and the gold that he was able to pick up for that, he is sitting really good. He's got Null Tally. He's still got 4 Tangos. He's got a Magic Wand, which has no charges, and now he's got a Midas. So things sitting really good for Decon right now, which I don't think was part of the DotaWeeb playbook.
And I think also the mech is going to be a good pickup from Viper. He'll be probably a little bit behind where he wants to get it, but he's still doing really well, right in par with where the actually highest CS on the network. So he's doing really good. Should have the mech online in what, maybe 2 minutes, 3 minutes if he keeps it the way he is. If they don't have a tower.
So Incendium going full support, like full protection here. He's going to throw out a level 2 heal on himself. He's got the armor provided, but the Tombstone goes down. Calliope taking some damage from Heyo, and Heyo's actually going to get a kill here as he throws out the ultimate. And now he's going to have to run from these zombies. If Cillian's not careful, the Anti-Mage could turn. He kills one zombie. The other one's hitting on him as the Magic Missile does connect. The Viper is here as well, but they're just going to back off. The Invis rotation there just not quite timed up correctly. And at the same time, we've got Shiroshi dying to a Sunstrike there. He kills the offlane Darkseer, but gets a little greedy and stands in place and gives up a kill to the Invoker. And now Heyo running for his life here as the Viper has shown himself, and they're going to take this tower here as they rotate yet another hero up here. They got the Disruptor coming. They'll have 4 top. They're going to look to take the first tier 1 tower of the game as Disruptor actually decides to not go top. He's going to rotate towards this mid lane and prevent the Invoker from taking a return tower.
Yeah, if the Disruptor would have lived there and he would have had the mana for the glimpse, you might have gotten a kill with that Viper rotation, but I think Invoker probably called the missing and also probably denoted that he didn't have the rune and the Viper was gone, so Heyo out-rotated instead of aggressively going for a kill, which if the Viper hadn't rotated, he might have actually been able to get, but with that Viper rotated, it probably would have just sealed his death. So good teamwork by the side of D&M, making sure the communication's up and letting you know the teammates that death is on the way.
So we've got a Null Tally in the bank and in the hero and a Staff of Wizardry in the stash. Is Decon going early Dagon?
Oh, that's interesting.
I don't think he is. I think he's probably going to go Yule Scepter. But it would be really fun if he did. Just the casual Null Tally is really good to have for in-heroes. But it's just kind of funny to see the Staff of Wizardry, picked up right afterwards. It's like,
I mean, he is an aggressive hero. He does like to do stuff like that. But I would be shocked if it was a Dagon. Yeah. I'm not losing another stake. I figured I was going to lose the last one, but I felt there was a chance, and this is why I don't bet.
Actually, Calliope is picked up in the middle here. He tries to glimpse Heyo, and in return, Heyo attacks a couple creeps before throwing the Mana Void out, and now Major Dune's in a lot of trouble. The Sunstrike's going to not connect, but Heyo blinks forward right into a Magic Missile. He's going to try to click things down. Baxu, the Ion Shell, is actually doing a lot of damage to the Vengeful. They're going to chase after Major Dune instead. They're going to see him. No, they didn't see him walk up top. Heyo, he needs to blink up. He's going to TP out. He does. He gets away, and now Cian's going to throw a Magic Missile on Cillian onto Baxu, and the Viper is here as well. The invisibility, the Nature's Guise, does come out onto Baxu, and now Ramacube wants to go on to Heyo. The armor does get put up, and the blink away here, so it's not going to happen. So that was very eventful, and at the same time, it looks like the Luna is able actually to pick up a solo kill onto the Warlock in the bottom lane and picks up the tower. So we've got 2 towers down. Oh, and then I pan away, and then we get another kill here as the Darkseer tried to go in on something and throws down a wall.
He was caught out to the side over here slightly, and so he tried to surge up and go up the lane. However, Disruptor was there, so he pulled him right back. And he probably would have gotten out if it wasn't for the Disruptor. So kind of what we were talking about earlier, how the Disruptor is just so effective against a hero like a Darkseer and an Anti-Mage, and it kind of showed it there. And now we got some action mid.
As Shiroshi is going to charge in a little bit with Major Dune, who throws out the Decay, but not going to be much there. Definitely looks like the game plan for DotaWeeb was to limit the 2 cores for D&M limit their farm as much as possible, and then try to be as aggressive as possible and pushing down some early towers, getting a nice influx of gold, and then kind of snowballing off of that, which is kind of what we talked about at the beginning. We said that they needed to
Oh,
snowball. And here
nice
comes a
glimpse
glimpse
back.
here. Decon does get glimpsed back. He's just going to blow up immediately. The magic missile stun there is there. Baksu TP's in the middle, but there's an eclipse going on. He's going to take 4 beams, and he just dies too. So 2 heroes dead there. Both cores for a T1. The Fortify is going to come up, but it's not going to be enough. It's not going to hold this at all, and they're actually down for 20 more seconds after this. This could be a T2 tower as well, as there are all 5 heroes here for the Radiant. There's nothing anywhere close to their tier towers, so this is just going to be a free tower, and then they can go back and defend.
And Viper has the mech online, so there is no way DNM want to defend this. They need to let this go and try to get some more farm up on this anti-mage.
And it looks like Medallion of Courage coming up here on Vengeful. They're going to have so much minus armor. Like, the team fight is so strong right now for them.
And honestly, the pickoff's pretty high too with that Disruptor. The Disruptor's such a good hero for picking off those cores that try to escape.
This has just been a solid overall game plan from DotaWeeb. I'm very impressed with their drafting and the way that they were able to kind of recognize what happened in not only the game that they won, but also the game that they lost. Or not only the game they lost, but also the game that they won. Because I think that they should have recognized that they were dangerously close to losing that, and it was for basically the same reason.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think DMM I just don't like that support combo. I think having supports that synergize well is probably the biggest thing to have in the draft, and I think it's definitely biting him. I mean, we got a Warlock at level 7 who hasn't dropped the golems yet. We haven't actually seen him really do a whole lot, but maybe drop a heal or two. I haven't even seen any big chains yet, and now we're going to have a major push bottom and now a 4-man push top.
He actually just leveled chains, so I mean, it seems to me that they would have been better served to have one of these heroes plus a Witch Doctor. Like, and I don't care which one it is, but just the Witch Doctor just would have lent so much more laning presence and would have prevented what DotaWeebs wanted to do. But by taking those 2 supports, it was just such a bad duo for protecting Heyo, and just didn't leave him with a lot to do. Now he has to blink from lane to lane and try to catch up farm in these other places, and he's doing a pretty good job of it. He's pretty close to a Battle Fury here. He's about 1,400 gold out. And
here comes the golem.
The golem. It does connect on 2 heroes. The wall connects on 1, so the Lunas, they're going to push back Shiroshi, but they're not going to get any kills out of this. They defend the high ground, but that's about it. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, Decon takes a ton of damage there from the Viper, as Rhombicube is just pushing this bottom lane all by himself here and doing a pretty good job of it. He did have to use the mech in that, but still, I mean, he's distracting Decon from that top lane, and they had to use 2 ults to just defend.
Yeah, now this is going to be the push that's going to be really painful. Ults are down, even though the Invoker's here. He's a little low on
the Disruptor ult. It does not catch anybody, and he can't glimpse anybody back into it. Finally, he glimpses the Darkseer back, but it's too late. The chains do come out. Calliope's going to die. So, a misplay there from Calliope as he tried to aggressively throw down the ult and the gate, but just not able to connect with anybody. And in the meantime, Heyo's in the bottom lane, and he's doing a pretty good job of getting some CS here.
Dang close to having his Battle Fury online, and his farm is going to start to skyrocket, especially with how good Heyo is at collecting farm.
And he's got 2 kills and assist already too, so I mean, he's doing very well. He's maybe in a little bit of a greedy position here, but they do have a ward, so he should be able to see this. Yeah, pings do come out from the Treant Protector, and then followed by pings from Major Dune. And it looks like DotaWeeb's going to collect up and try to push down this bottom tower, but I would expect that as that's going to go on, Heyo's going to pick up this mid camp. He's going to go ahead and then head towards the top lane while his team pushes out mid. So they'll always keep one lane for the anti-mage to go and farm, and then while the other 4 heroes try to at least, they don't have to defend the external towers, they can just defend the high ground and wait for anti-mage to get built up.
At the rate Heyo's going, he's going to have his Battle Fury online pretty quick, too. I mean, it's not going to be much longer.
The headdress is almost done for Major Dune, so that may be a little bit of a headache. It'll negate some of that chain damage, as they're going to have a pipe relatively soon here on DotaWeeb.
And the other thing that I noticed here is the Warlock picked up a Hannah Midas recipe.
And here we go. Major Doom's going to walk in. They give away that they have sight. They dust then they glimpse back the tree. That's a lot of commitment there for a tree who's not really doing anything.
Oh,
Vacuum
nice
onto
vacuum wall.
3 heroes. It's going to connect, and now the Eclipse is going to pop out. It hits a lot of creeps. The pushback into the wall, the Mana Void does not do enough damage to the Luna, but she dies anyway thanks to the Darkseer wall. And now Baksu's trying to get out, and here comes a nice golem. It connects on 4 heroes, and Hale's in the middle of things now. He connects with a magic missile. He's going to die, but also the Viper dies, and now Major Doom's going to die as well, most likely. No, he's not. He's chained up with Cillian, and actually DC here from the game is going to auto-pause things. But I think that's pretty much decided. Decon could try to Sunstrike either Cillian or Major Doom. Cillian probably going to be the easier target because he's got sight on him right now. And that might be enough actually through the chains to kill him. Oh, he's not. The icon's above his head, but the status symbol is not. That must not be on him. It must be on a creep. No, it's on him. Why doesn't it? Oh, there it is. Oh, he's gonna connect with Major Doom. Okay, so great Sunstrike there. Like I said, he's gonna go for one of the two. So he actually splits both of them. So 3 kills for the anti-mage. Base defended. And I think this is pretty much the perfect fight at this point for DNM. Defend uphill, let anti-mage farm up as much as he can. He did finish the Battle Fury before he died, so he's going to be able to go out into other lanes and push things out. It's kind of turtle and protect now.
And that was a really good. Their alts came out on cooldown right when they wanted to. The golems, I mean, he almost casted it as they came off cooldown. So everything kind of turned out really well for DNM on that fight. Good time, unfortunate timings for DotaWeeb, and they couldn't push uphill fast enough before all those alts came back online. However, this next fight's going to be a little bit different. DotaWeeb do have their pipe online on the side of Undying.
Shirashi almost has a drum, so a little bit late for it, but deciding to go back for the drum. I question that a little bit. I think the ultimate orb costs just as much, but maybe he's concerned about just getting the smaller components together, so it's easier to buy them piecemeal like that. And I don't know. If they win a fight, he'll have drum. If they lose a fight, he doesn't lose that much. And they're actually going to smoke to go in for Roshan here. So they do have a good Roshan lineup. They have the mech. They've got the Viper to slow him down. They've got a ton of minus armor with the Vengeful Spirit. It is going to get spotted out here, but it's just too late. It's going to die so fast. With the Medallion of Courage and the Scream of Pain, this thing's going to be dead before.
And the Warlock ult is not online.
Major Dude is going to walk in here. He's going to throw out a Decay. The fence does come up. Boxu is in the middle of a lot of things here. He tries to surge away, but it's not going to connect. The nice zoning ult there from Kaleo. Boxu's just going to... Oh! No, he's not going to die. The swap does come in. Decon's in the middle of everything here. And now the Eclipse comes out. It does connect with Decon a couple times, but he's in Viz. He gets out with 60 health. And now the Radiant are low, the Dire are low. Elusive Beam does finish off the Warlock, but he's the only hero that dies in that mess.
That was very, very great. I mean, that was a great
I guess the
attempt
Aegis
from DNM.
did die as well.
Oh, I didn't even... Oh, no, it did. It's on Viper.
Is it?
Yep.
Okay, there it is. Never mind. I clicked through everybody but the Viper.
That was a really good vacuum meatball combo. Unfortunately, just not enough damage. That mech pretty much negated the entire thing.
Decon taking a ton of damage. He's going to get glimpsed, but that's actually going to help him out a little bit. Pushes him away from Rhombicube. Another gate does come out here but it's just kind of, again, zoning. They want to go for these barracks. They know their advantage right now, and they're just trying to do anything they can. But Heo's here now, a nice little vacuum onto 2, followed by the Warlock ult, which connects with all 5 heroes. The slow is out there. Decon taking a ton of damage from Rhombicube, but he's just going to go invis. He is going to tick down from the ultimate damage, though. Rhombicube may be in a little bit of trouble, but the Vengeful Spirit is going to tick down the Treant with the Scream of Pain, and now there are 3 heroes down, 2 buybacks coming out from DNM. As early as it is, this could be the game right here with the 2 buybacks like that. They need to get some kind of return, but they can't do it. They can't walk into that tombstone. There's nobody that's really that close to low. Calliope is fairly low, but he's standing way in the back here. He's got all his fields. He's got kinetic, or his abilities. He's got kinetic fields. He's got static storm. Ramacube is just tanking this tower up. He's got the Aegis. He doesn't care if he dies here. He's just going to walk right into their team. He's going to throw out some right clicks, harass people away, and Incendium is actually going to die here. He just gets blown up. The overgrowth isn't going to matter. The meatball does connect here, and it's actually doing quite a bit of damage. The vacuum wall actually combination is going to kill one, takes down the Aegis. And this might actually send DotaWeeb running. Baksu, though, is ticking down pretty quickly here as Ramacube has respawned. He gets one more right click, but it's not going to be enough. The Treant armor is there. But in the back line here, Shiroshi is just taking out these barracks, just right-clicking them down. And again, the anti-mage is dead. Major Doom might die here to Decon. Decon isn't going to die to Shiroshi, most likely, who is just going to take out this barracks and then probably just walk away.
Oof. And that's probably where the weakness of D&M's lineup is. They burned all their alts, mostly kind of out of sequence from each other. Oh, and didn't get the Sunstrike kill either. And now, and then Shushugi goes back on the support there. Oh my gosh, this game is just it's completely out of control. DotaWeeb is just going all over the place and just destroying everything they run into. D&M are just too reliant on their alts, and when their alts are on cooldown, their defense is so weak.
And D&M just have a lineup that couldn't get behind. Like we said at the very beginning, if DotaWeeb, the key to victory, like their win condition was to snowball, and they didn't overpoweringly snowball, but they did enough to get themselves into a position where they were the superior team fighting team. And at that point, like the game kind of turned for D&M. I think there's still a window of opportunity, although it's incredibly slight for D&M, but they're going to have to take a really nice team fight here. I mean, the XP is really close, but almost 15k difference in net worth here between Radiant and Dire, and Heyo is trying to get farm any way he can, but Shiroshi is sitting here and he's just tanking him out. The kinetic field there. Oh, the glimpse back, and they actually kill Heyo. I think that's game. He doesn't have buyback. He's out. He's their only damage dealer. They have Incendium here. He's got the Golem. He might as well just turn and use it because he's going to die as well. One more tick on the attack. The Glaive actually bounced from Decon back to kill him. Warlock does have a buyback. He's probably going to have to use it here. They have 3 heroes up top. They've got the Vengeful pushing into the mid lane, and then they've got the Viper back at the Courier. He's picked up a double damager, and he has Mech and BKB. They might respawn before this dies, but Shiroshi does so much damage. The Deafening Blast pushes him back. The Vac Wall connects onto 2 heroes, but it's doing almost no damage. Overgrowth again connects on 2 damage, but Lucent Beam is here. BKB is here. Baksu gets glimpsed back into things. He's going to die. Shiroshi is unstoppable, and this is just game. They're just going to tear through that tower. They're going to tear through these barracks. They're going to have mega creeps here at 24 minutes. Baksu buys back, but I don't think it matters. Anti-Mage is up. Can they fight into this? The swap Baksu goes in. He tries to surge away, but he just dies. The Mana Void does almost no damage, and Heyo dies immediately too. The Golem is down. Now the Train Protector is down. Decon has to run for his life. He is down as well. GG comes out here as DotaWeeb just put together a fantastic draft plan, a great plan of attack to go straight after Heyo and Decon, who were D&M's best players throughout both series that we saw him in the last 2 weeks. Go straight after him and pick up a win. They're going to head to the finals next week.
Oh man, that was an incredibly well situated strategy and extremely well executed on the side of DotaWeebs. DMN unfortunately had some big alts, and when they were down, they just couldn't do the uphill defense they were hoping for.
Well, it was a pleasure casting all 3 of these games. They were all great games, back and forth in the first 2. Great draft plan strategy in the last one. And next week we will be back, hopefully, with the final broadcast of this season, which is season 10 of the AD2L playoff. We are in the 2nd division. We'll be back to see DotaWeebs play either Dirty Mike and the boys or Don't Panic. I don't actually have results here for that game, but we'll be back for that game. Any closing thoughts before we take off, Sequoia?
No, I think you pretty much nailed it. We're going to do our best to be here for the grand finals next week.
All right, so if you would like us to cast your games, go ahead and send a shout over Twitter to me at Legion170. and follow us on the Twitch, guys. We are all about Dota. Thanks so much for watching. For Sequoia and Just the Worst, who had to take off for this game, I am Legion 170. Have a good one, guys. We'll see you next week.